Chapter 280. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/little? Sure, Net provides you with wonderful novels to read. If it was any other time, Night Sorrow wouldn't mind letting Tianyu fight and practice his combat skills. However, he couldn't in the Void Fiend space, mainly because it was difficult to replenish energy. Night Sorrow didn't want Tianyu to expend too much energy, and was also worried that Tianyu would be injured. Night Sorrow's sky-piercing spears were as fast as lightning, carrying 2 streaks of black light as they shot into the heads of the 2 tigerhawks in front, directly killing them without any suspense. Tianyu suppressed it to the ground. Night Sorrow communicated with Tianyu. There was only one mid-stage rank 3 tigerhawk left. Night Sorrow planned to try taming it. He had a few beast-taming crystals with him, so if there was a suitable flying tamed beast, he would definitely capture it. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Tianyu's wings flapped and his body rose into the air, dodging the tigerhawk's charge. Then with a spin he landed on the back of the last tigerhawk. A pair of sharp claws pressed down on the tigerhawk's flapping wings, and a sharp beak bit the back of the tigerhawk's neck, firmly suppressing the tigerhawk that was about to flip over. The tigerhawk couldn't fly, so it could only extend its wings as far as possible and land on the ground. Once it landed on the ground, it couldn't move. Night Sorrow jumped off Tianyu's back, took out an ice serpent tendon from his storage ring, and tied the tigerhawk's 2 huge wings together. Only then did he retrieve his 2 sky-piercing spears. Standing in front of the tigerhawk's head, Night Sorrow raised his right hand and slapped the tigerhawk's head, because the tigerhawk was glaring at him angrily. Night Sorrow's energy-infused right hand was no different from a weapon. This slap caused the tigerhawk's head to fall to the side. I know your intelligence isn't low and you can understand my words. Now I'll give you 2 choices. Submit or die. Yi Sorrow said to Tiger Eagle, who was still glaring at him, and slapped him again with his right hand. The Tiger Eagle glared at Night Sorrow with its black and red eyes. It kept roaring. Birds chirped, but the Tiger Eagle's roar was a tiger's roar. Looking at Tigerhawk's eyes, Night Sorrow pressed Tigerhawk's head with his left hand and slapped him 5 or 6 times with his right hand. The Tiger Eagle's head was swaying, and it was dizzy. Let me ask you again, are you going to submit? While Night Sorrow was asking, his right hand was constantly twitching. He knew that the demonic beasts here were different from the ones outside. The demonic beasts here were violent, so he had to use violence to make them submit. After beating it twice and seeing that the Tiger Eagle had no intention of submitting, Night Sorrow took out the sky-piercing spear from his waist. If he couldn't subdue it, then he could only kill it. Seeing Night Sorrow take out the sky-piercing spear, fear appeared in the Tiger Eagle's eyes. It felt the aura of death from the sky-piercing spear. I'll ask you again, are you going to submit or not? Night Sorrow coldly looked at the Tiger Eagle and asked. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, the Tiger Eagle crawled in front of Night Sorrow and stuck its head to the ground. Seeing this, Night Sorrow took back the sky-piercing spear and patted the Tiger Eagle's head. This was to tell the Tiger Eagle that he accepted its submission. After the Tiger Eagle submitted, Night Sorrow went forward and untied the dragon tendons that bound its wings. He knew the demonic beast's character. Once they submitted, they wouldn't betray. Submitting demonic beasts was different from taming beasts. Taming beasts belonged to whoever tamed them, just like Su Qinbai's golden-eyed sparrow. Submitting demonic beasts were extremely valuable. They would absolutely obey orders and wouldn't betray. If Night Sorrow didn't use them, he could give them away. They would also be obedient to their master. Without the original master's orders, even if they died, no one else could control them. Looking at the 2 dead Tiger Eagles, Night Sorrow put away the demonic beast cores and teeth. Then he rode Tianyu and brought the Tiger Eagle a distance away before resting. Looking at the rank 3 level 5 Tiger Eagle, Night Sorrow was filled with joy. Its speed and fighting strength were inferior to Tianyu, but it would be different as they went deeper. Tianyu wasn't used to the tyrannical energy here, but the Tiger Eagle wasn't a problem. After Night Sorrow fed the Tiger Eagle and Tianyu beast pills, he made a shack and began to meditate. After calming down, Night Sorrow knew that he was unknowingly affected by the tyrannical energy in the void fiendish space. Otherwise, he wouldn't have treated the Tiger Eagle so violently. After quietly cultivating for a night, Night Sorrow rode Tianyu forward. As the tyrannical energy became denser, Tianyu's condition began to deteriorate. The consumption was quite large. In this situation, Night Sorrow landed on the tiger eagle's back and continued to fly forward. Bored, Night Sorrow took out a bone-rotting grass and smeared the grass juice on the two tiger eagles' teeth. Then he wrapped them in cloth and put them away. He didn't dare to touch them directly, out of respect for the unknown, as long as it could increase his ability to protect himself. Night Sorrow didn't care what method it was. As for firing the bone-rotting eagle teeth, Night Sorrow wasn't worried about hurting himself. He wore the azure claw glove on his left hand, so it didn't affect him when he fired it. However, as long as the target was hit by the bone-rotting eagle teeth, it would be miserable. As they advanced, battles occurred from time to time. Night Sorrow didn't do much. It was Tianyu and the tiger eagle that did the killing. When they encountered ordinary flying beasts, Night Sorrow would directly deal with them with the sky-piercing spear. Ordinary beasts weren't worthy of Night Sorrow's attention, so he was too lazy to tame them. The tiger eagle was different. It was a beast with a lot of potential. This rank 3 level 5 wasn't even an adult yet, so it was normal that it wasn't Tianyu's opponent. Not to mention Tianyu's talent, his cultivation was also at the rank 3 level 7, much higher than the tiger eagle. The tyrannical energy was getting more and more intense, suppressing Tianyu. Night Sorrow and Tianyu talked about it, and planned to recall Tianyu. However, Tianyu felt that it was still okay, and didn't want to be recalled to the beast taming space. It had a strong personality and didn't want to admit defeat. It didn't like the tiger eagle, so it naturally didn't think it was worse than the tiger eagle. The tyrannical energy was getting more and more intense, bringing with it a sense of emptiness that Night Sorrow couldn't describe. Obviously, the tyrannical energy was very fierce, so there shouldn't be any other feeling. However, Night Sorrow could feel this strong sense of emptiness. After advancing for a month, Night Sorrow felt that he had advanced hundreds of thousands of miles. However, he felt that the core area of this space was still very far away. Night Sorrow calculated that the Medicine Valley was millions of miles away from the Holy Light Temple and the Thunder Rumbling School. Even if he rode a flying beast, it would still take a few months. This space had a space passage between these two places, which meant that it was at least millions of miles wide or long. In this month, Night Sorrow used the best quality soul condensing pill to cultivate, so his true chi didn't advance much. However, the Myriad Tao Treasure Book's advancement was terrifying, reaching the peak of level 4 of the bone forging stage. On this day, Night Sorrow felt that the surrounding temperature was rapidly rising. The further he advanced, the higher the temperature. Then, Night Sorrow saw a world of fire. It was a huge magma lake. This kind of situation made Night Sorrow somewhat happy. He knew that only this kind of special area could possibly produce heavenly materials and earthly treasures. There wouldn't be anything in ordinary areas, just some materials. After receiving Tianyu and the tiger eagle, Night Sorrow came to the magma lake. Chapter 281. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Looking at the green rocky path that extended endlessly into the magma lake, Night Sorrow hesitated. He didn't know where this green rocky path led to, or where the final destination was. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow decided to go in and take a look. Since he was already here, he couldn't leave any regrets, even though the temperature here was already unbearable. After making his decision, Night Sorrow carried his reincarnation spear and stepped onto the green rocky path, heading inside. The heat coming from the bottom of his feet made Night Sorrow extremely uncomfortable, but he insisted on walking forward. As Night Sorrow moved forward, the violent aura weakened and was replaced by surging fire energy. Night Sorrow's silk robe was already rolled up. Sweat flowed down his cheeks, and a burnt smell came from his boots. Night Sorrow circulated his true chi and used the mysterious jade spiritual energy in his hands to protect his feet, so that his combat boots wouldn't be burnt and his feet wouldn't be burned. Holding the wine jug, Night Sorrow drank a mouthful when he was thirsty and took a rest when he was tired. While moving forward, Night Sorrow didn't give up on cultivating. The pressure here was even more terrifying than the pressure at Danding Cliff. It was more unbearable than the pressure at Danding Cliff, so it was very suitable for cultivating the Myriad Tao Treasured Tome. Under the state of cultivation, Night Sorrow moved forward day after day. Other than the green rocky path in front and behind him, there was only the churning magma lake, or rather, the sea of magma. Night Sorrow didn't give up. He knew that there was an end to the sea of magma. It was just a matter of how far it was. After walking day and night, other than increasing his cultivation, Night Sorrow was already numb to other things. On the 7th day of walking, Night Sorrow saw a special scene. A towering volcano sat in the middle of the sea of magma. The bottom of the volcano was made of black and red rocks. As the height of the volcano extended, there were lush green ancient trees. Magma was constantly spewing out from the peak of the mountain, but the distance was quite far. It didn't fall on the volcano and didn't harm the green vegetation. Night Sorrow felt a chill when he arrived at the top of the mountain, or rather, the island. He felt much more energetic. After drinking 2 mouthfuls of wine, Night Sorrow walked towards the island. After taking a few steps, Night Sorrow bumped into a wave of energy. This wave of energy sent Night Sorrow tumbling. Yi Shang, who was supporting himself on the ground, stretched out his right hand and slowly walked forward. After taking 5 steps forward, Night Sorrow's outstretched hand felt energy. Night Sorrow controlled his body to move forward slowly. He did not dare to collide head-on. As he moved slowly, Night Sorrow's body entered the energy. He entered slowly, and the energy did not reject him. Love go little, say walking in the energy, Night Sorrow was extremely shocked. The energy was so dense that it almost liquefied. The energy was pure and not violent. If it wasn't for the fact that he had to continue exploring, Night Sorrow would have immediately sat down cross-legged to cultivate. It would definitely be several times faster than on Danding Cliff. Original EP version Y square root first X release $4. After walking forward slowly for a while, Night Sorrow found a foggy cave entrance. Night Sorrow did not dare to move forward quickly. He was afraid that it would cause a violent rebound of energy. Every step he took was very careful. With such dense energy, if it went berserk, it would definitely tear him to pieces. The further they went, the denser the energy became. When they entered the cave, it wasn't as dark as Yi Shang had imagined. The light in the cave was very good, and the walls of the cave were full of shiny objects. After taking a closer look, Night Sorrow's heart could not help but quiver. The glowing objects were all crystals. A large number of low-grade spirit stones were shining. Night Sorrow continued forward. The cave passage was not parallel. It extended underground. Controlling his speed, Night Sorrow moved forward slowly. After walking for an hour, Night Sorrow estimated that he had entered the inner part of the island. In other words, he was 10,000 meters below the volcano. However, he had not reached the end. Night Sorrow was not anxious. He was only looking forward to what would happen next. After another hour, Night Sorrow reached the end of the passage. It was a huge cave, a cave in the belly of the mountain. Inside the cave, visible red and white energy spiraled. In the core area were 2 pools. One was a fiery red magma pool. Above the magma pool floated a fist-sized red stone. The red energy came from this stone. Most of it entered the magma pool, and only a small portion floated in all directions. On the other side was a much smaller pool. Above the pool floated a white stone. However, it was smaller, only the size of an egg. Origin stone. Heaven's mandate stone. Night Sorrow's heart shook. These 2 were Heaven's mandate stones. There was no need to ask how Night Sorrow knew. Seeing these 2 stones, Night Sorrow was sure that these were the most precious and rare Heaven's mandate stones. This was his feeling. Night Sorrow put on the claw glove that the sect had made for him. These 2 Heaven's mandate stones were supreme treasures. He was afraid that the energy on them would harm people. Night Sorrow planned to take the water attribute Heaven's mandate stone first. The water attribute was relatively less harmful. At this time, the energy fluctuations could be seen with the naked eye. Night Sorrow was not afraid of the energy suppression. Dodging the ribbon-like energy, Night Sorrow came to the pool where the water attribute Heaven's mandate stone was. After looking for a while, Night Sorrow's right hand was filled with mysterious jade spirit chi. He slowly reached under the water attribute Heaven's mandate stone, and gently held it in his hand. The moment he touched the destiny stone, An image of a surging wave appeared in Yi Shang's mind. Then there was a small stream, a fast river, a surging river, and the waves of the sea. All kinds of dynamic images kept flashing. Shaking his head, Night Sorrow withdrew his hand. He looked at the Heaven's Mandate Stone in his hand. He knew that the images just now were the evolution of the law of water. Holding the water attribute Heaven's Mandate Stone, Night Sorrow's joy was indescribable. He could fulfill his promise to Wu Lingfei and give an explanation to Tianji Tower. Also, he could use the Sikong Chiyu. After taking a deep breath, Night Sorrow took out a jade box and put the Heaven's Mandate Stone inside before putting it into his storage ring. When he lowered his head, Night Sorrow noticed that the water in the pool was not water at all. It was an extremely pure spirit liquid, much purer than the spirit liquid from the medicinal cauldron. Night Sorrow took out 2 wine jars and began to fill them. He could not waste spirit liquid like this. Yi Shang's wine jugs were very high grade, and they were all made of celadone. After filling 2 jugs, Yi Shang, who had no empty jugs, took out a jug of wine. When he poured the wine into the jug, he found that the spirit liquid in the pool had disappeared. It had all seeped into the ground. This made him a bit annoyed. At least 1 jug of spirit liquid had disappeared. After dealing with the water attribute Heaven's Mandate Stone, Night Sorrow looked at the fire attribute Heaven's Mandate Stone. This fire attribute Heaven's Mandate Stone was much bigger than the water attribute Heaven's Mandate Stone. Night Sorrow came to the side of the huge lava pool. When the energy in the air appeared, he jumped up and reached for the fire attribute Heaven's Mandate Stone with his right hand. Very smoothly, Yi Shang managed to obtain the fire attribute Destiny Stone. Looking at the lava that was filled with energy, Yi Shang could only sigh. He couldn't take that thing. After putting away the fire attribute Heaven's Mandate Stone, Night Sorrow took out his extra Thunder Cry sword and started to dig around the cave. There were all extreme quality spirit stones. Chapter 282. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/small? I will provide you with interesting novels to read. Night Sorrow was playing hard. He only dug out peak-grade spirit stones, and there were very few high-grade ones. After digging out all the peak-grade spirit stones in the cave, Night Sorrow obtained several hundred of them. Seeing that there were no more peak-grade spirit stones in the cave, Night Sorrow took the Thunder Cry sword and started digging along the tunnel. He dug as he walked out. Chapter 6px Original Chapter 6px 2 hours later, Night Sorrow had dug out more than 1,000 high-grade spirit stones. Seeing that there were no more high-grade spirit stones, Night Sorrow wiped the Thunder Cry sword and put it away. The Thunder Cry sword was of high quality, and ordinary weapons would have been chipped and broken if he dug like this. Night Sorrow did not touch the mid-grade spirit stones. 1,000 high-grade spirit stones were equivalent to more than 100,000 mid-grade spirit stones, not to mention the hundreds of peak-grade spirit stones. As he walked, Night Sorrow discovered that the energy in the tunnel had weakened. It was not as dense as before, and the further he walked, the thinner the energy became. After leaving the underground cave and returning to the volcano, Night Sorrow saw that the environment had changed. The lava on the volcano was no longer erupting, and the lush ancient trees were a little withered. Night Sorrow knew that this was because he had taken the Destiny Stone, which had destroyed the energy structure here. The fire attribute Destiny Stone contained the fire attribute law, so it formed a lava lake and the volcano was constantly erupting. As for why there were green trees on the volcanoes in the lava lake, that was because of the water element Destiny Stone. The water attribute Destiny Stone's existence had preserved a green land in a world of fire. Now that it had been taken away, this green land would no longer exist. Night Sorrow searched the small but tall green volcano for 6 hours. He collected many spirit herbs, including several hundred void grass and clear void grass. The most valuable spirit herbs he obtained were 2 stalks of yin-yang spirit fruits, which he saw above the cave entrance. Night Sorrow found out that they were tier 6 treasures after comparing them with the Fey Illustrated Handbook. They were the main ingredient for the tier 6 elixir pill, the dual polarity pill. After plundering everything here, Night Sorrow planned to leave. How to leave? There was only one limestone path. If he followed it back, it would waste more than half a month. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow let out the tiger eagle and fed it a beast essence pill. He then rode the tiger eagle in the direction he planned. Even if he did not find a foothold, even if there was a lava lake in front of him, other people wouldn't dare to do this. Once the flying demonic beast's energy was exhausted and there was no place to land, it would be a dead end. Flying demon beasts wouldn't be able to last long above such a lava lake, but Yishang wasn't afraid. First of all, he had the origin spirit elixir to support the tiger eagle's recovery. In addition, he had Tianyu. Even if Tianyu was not used to this kind of high temperature, he could hold on for a while and give the tiger eagle time to recover. When he came, he did not know the situation and needed to scout. Night Sorrow did not dare to fly on a demonic beast. Now that he wanted to leave, he did not have so many misgivings. Night Sorrow had been bitterly cultivating on the limestone path. The results of his cultivation were very obvious. His chi had reached the mid-8th level of the core condensation realm, and he had reached the peak of the 4th level of the bone forging realm. He was about to break through. If he did not break through, he would not be able to increase his cultivation. This was a volcanic island. There could be danger at any time, so Night Sorrow did not dare to break through here. The tiger eagle flew at a very high altitude. This way, it could avoid the high temperature of the lava lake. Even so, its speed was not fast. Standing on the tiger eagle's back, Night Sorrow had been scouting the situation. Every hour, he would feed the tiger eagle a drop of spirit spring elixir to replenish its energy. Flying while resisting the high temperature was extremely taxing on the tiger eagle. Half a day later, Night Sorrow felt a violent energy. Only when there was not enough fire energy would the violent energy be obvious. Night Sorrow knew that they were not far from the edge of the lava lake. After replenishing the tiger eagle's energy, Night Sorrow controlled it to continue flying. Finally, before the sky turned dark, the tiger eagle flew out of the lava lake's range. Night Sorrow did some calculations. Even if the environment was bad and the tiger eagle flew very slowly, it still flew about 3,000 miles in a day. This meant that the lava lake's range of 5,000 miles might be exaggerated, but it was at least 6,000 to 7,000 miles. Recalling the tiger eagle to rest, Night Sorrow let out Tianyu. Riding Tianyu for a while, he felt that the heat was not as hot anymore. Only then did he set up a shack to rest. His butt had not touched the ground for several days. After sitting down, Night Sorrow felt tired. He also let out the tiger eagle, fed it and Tianyu beast essence pills, and told the two beasts to be vigilant. Night Sorrow planned to rest for a while before making a breakthrough in the myriad Dao Tome. Not making a breakthrough would delay his progress. After eating some jerky, drinking some wine, and looking at the treasures he had obtained, Night Sorrow began to meditate and cultivate. While Night Sorrow was cultivating, the two of them arrived at the green rock path that Night Sorrow had walked on. If Night Sorrow saw them, he would recognize that one of them was the genius of the Golden Flame sect, Su Yuan. "Cousin, why is the environment here so bad?" Su Yuan asked. Su Yuan's cultivation had improved very quickly. After the Venerable Convention, he had broken through to the core condensation realm. Now he was at the peak of the 5th level of the core condensation realm, and had the strength to fight with late-stage core condensation realm experts. Therefore, he had also entered the void fiendish space. Don't be afraid of the harsh environment. Remember, only special environments can produce heavenly treasures. If we can obtain the Destiny Stone this time, then our position in the Extreme Heaven Tower will rise, said the man Su Yuan referred to as his cousin. This young man was called Su Wang. When he entered the void fiendish space, his cultivation was at the peak of the core condensation realm. After eating a pill, he broke through to the 4th level of the soul condensation realm. After eldest cousin goes out, he will be able to get the attention of He. At that time, he will be the patrol of Tianji Tower, Su Yuan said enviously. You have to work hard too. Let's see how we can get there, Su Wang said as he observed the green rock path. After looking for a while, Su Wang made the same decision as Night Sorrow. They would go in and take a look. Su Wang had his Zhen Qi to protect his body, while Su Yuan channeled the power of his sect's ultimate skill, Golden Flame Hand, to his feet to protect them. The two of them proceeded towards the lava lake. Not long after they entered, other people came one after another. In the middle of the night, Night Sorrow raised the cultivation of the Myriad Dao Tome to the 5th level of the Broken Bone Tome. After the Myriad Dao Tome was successfully upgraded, Night Sorrow ate a top-grade core condensation pill to stabilize the cultivation of the Myriad Dao Tome while working hard to cultivate his true qi. After dawn, Night Sorrow got up and drank 2 mouthfuls of wine. He cultivated his spear technique for a while and was ready to continue forward. Now the violent energy suppression was very strong. Tianyu was not used to it. After communicating with Tianyu was still unwilling to enter the beast taming space. Chapter 283. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? Say net, providing you with wonderful novels to read. This was Night Sorrow's intuition. This kind of violent, baleful aura, as well as the empty pressure, was very strong after entering the void fiendish space. Love go little, say W. Chu in comparison, from feeling the fire attribute energy to finding the fire attribute source stone, it was only a range of 10,000 miles. What did this mean? This meant that there might be source stones in places that emitted hollowness, violence and baleful aura. Moreover, they were of a much higher grade than fire and water attribute source stones. Resisting the pressure, Night Sorrow continued to control the tiger eagle to fly. As they moved forward, Night Sorrow saw many high-level demonic beasts, some of which were even stage 4. There were also some whose cultivation he could not see. Fortunately, these demonic beasts could not fly. Night Sorrow moved forward while observing the surrounding situation. The harsh environment did not make Night Sorrow nervous. Instead, it made him feel relieved. This way, others would not be able to get ahead of him, and he would not lose the initiative. In this kind of exploration, the initiative was especially important. It was just like how he had obtained the fire and water attribute destiny stones. They were his. The people who went in later could only dig for the spirit stones he did not want. But at such a crucial time, who would dig for spirit stones? Looking at the tiger eagle under his feet and Tianyu flying beside him, Night Sorrow felt that his speed was definitely fast. Even if the others had flying demonic beasts, they would not be of a higher grade than Tianyu's or stronger than Tianyu's. Tianyu's flying was already very difficult, let alone the others' flying demonic beasts. It had to be known that many people did not have flying demonic beasts. Day after day passed. Night Sorrow sat on the tiger eagle and led Tianyu forward. Just yesterday, the tiger eagle had advanced to stage 3, level 6. Its strength had increased, and its resistance to pressure was stronger than before. Night Sorrow's cultivation was also rapidly increasing. He was now using the spiritual origin liquid to cultivate. It was more effective than any pill. 1 drop of spiritual origin liquid was enough for him to absorb for 2 days without any side effects. Night Sorrow was unable to estimate the value of the 2 jars of origin spiritual liquid. In the Medicine Valley, only Heaven Stage disciples were qualified to use the medicinal cauldron spirit liquid, and they were only allowed to use 2 drops a year. However, Night Sorrow's spiritual liquid of origin was much more effective than the medicinal cauldron spirit liquid. Moreover, he didn't even need to count the drops. He had 2 full jars. Origin spiritual liquid was a rare treasure. Just taking out a small bottle was enough to shock many people. As he continued to cultivate, Night Sorrow's true qi cultivation was not far from the peak of the 8th level of the core condensation realm. His Myriad Dao treasure tome had also reached the middle of the 5th level of the bone forging realm. His chest and abdomen had also strengthened by half. However, as they ventured deeper, the tiger eagle could no longer hold on. Night Sorrow did not even know how many tens of thousands of li he had advanced. The violent energy was tyrannical. However, the suppression of this kind of aura was still manageable. This kind of violent aura had an extremely strong sense of emptiness, which greatly weakened the resistance of Night Sorrow, Tianyu, and the tiger eagle. Seeing that the tiger eagle's flying speed was no longer there, Night Sorrow controlled the tiger eagle and Tianyu to land. He put them away, and then began to walk. The feeling of landing on the ground was indeed different. Feeling that he had roots, Night Sorrow began to run. Right now, Night Sorrow felt as if he was climbing Danding Cliff. The pressure was comparable to the energy impact of Danding Cliff, which was about 4,000 meters high. This degree of pressure was not difficult for Night Sorrow. In order to seize the time, Night Sorrow increased his running speed. Night Sorrow shuttled through the forest and grassland. When he encountered a demonic beast, as long as it couldn't attack him, he would ignore it and advance at full speed. After running for a few hundred li, Night Sorrow saw an opponent whose cultivation level he couldn't see clearly. It was a lion with blood-colored fur. This blood-colored lion blocked Night Sorrow's path forward. Holding the reincarnation spear, Night Sorrow sized up this lion. He knew that the demonic beasts in the void fiendish space had a much stronger fighting strength than the demonic beasts of the same level in the outside world. Their temperaments were extremely violent. In addition, they were also used to the environment here. They grew up here and had already adapted to the energy suppression here. While Night Sorrow was sizing up this blood-colored lion, the lion moved. Its two zhonglong body leaped up and rushed towards Night Sorrow at an incomparably fast speed. Night Sorrow waved his reincarnation spear and thrust it out. The blood-colored lion in the air didn't change its path and continued to pounce. At the same time, one of its front paws slapped towards the reincarnation spear. This time, Night Sorrow didn't use the vibration force. He directly used the wave force. He didn't want to shake off the blood-colored lion's sharp claws. He wanted to directly break the lion's claws. Catch! With a crisp sound, Night Sorrow's ferocious spear directly chopped off one of the blood-colored lion's front paws. He then executed the soaring dragon steps and dodged to the side. When Night Sorrow dodged, the blood-colored lion missed its target. After missing its target, the blood-colored lion only had 3 legs left to support its body. At this moment, the blood-colored lion's bloodthirsty temperament could be seen. It didn't care about its broken front paws, and continued to pounce towards Night Sorrow. When the blood-colored lion had 4 legs, Night Sorrow wasn't afraid, let alone now that it only had 3 legs left. After a few rounds, Night Sorrow slit its throat with a single spear strike. Night Sorrow split open the blood-colored lion's head with a single spear strike, and took out its demonic core. Demonic beasts were different from humans. A human's demonic core was in their dantian. However, most demonic beasts had their demonic cores in their heads. After putting away the demonic core, Night Sorrow released the tiger eagle and Tianyu. Seeing the blood-colored lion's corpse, the tiger eagle rushed over. Its bloodthirsty nature liked this kind of prey. When the tiger eagle moved, Tianyu also went over and began to eat the blood-colored lion's corpse. This made Night Sorrow, who was about to feed Tianyu with the spirit spring liquid, stunned. In the past, Tianyu wasn't like this. Night Sorrow then understood that this was the influence of the void fiendish space's aura. Night Sorrow didn't stop Tianyu. After all, a demonic beast's body contained a very rich blood essence. Eating this wouldn't harm Tianyu. When the tiger eagle and Tianyu finished eating, Night Sorrow put them away and continued to move forward. While moving forward, Night Sorrow put the bone-corroding grass-poison stone bag on his waist and the sky-piercing spear on his back. Night Sorrow knew that as they moved forward, the situation would become more and more dangerous. Demonic beasts of all levels would appear. Once a demonic beast appeared that he couldn't kill, he would have to use some tricks. As they moved forward, fewer demonic beasts appeared. However, the demonic beasts that appeared had the same thing in common, and that was their strength. In such an area, ordinary demonic beasts couldn't exist. Just like the lava lake that Night Sorrow went to, the environment wasn't suitable for demonic beasts to live in. However, if there were any, it would be dangerous. It was definitely a heaven-defying demonic beast. First we send. After moving forward for another 6 days, Night Sorrow was a little worried. The strength of the energy suppression had increased a lot. It was about the same as Danding Cliff's 4600. If this pressure continued to increase, it would be hard to say if he could get close to the core area. Although he was worried, Night Sorrow still moved forward. If there was an opportunity, he had to fight for it. If he couldn't fight for it, it was one thing. If he fought for it, it was another thing. Chapter 284. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? I'll provide you with a wonderful novel to read. Su Wang's face was gloomy. He looked at the magma pool and the empty pool of water origin spiritual liquid without saying a word. Love gob little say webku cousin, the spirit stones that were dug out might be top grade and upper grade spirit stones. What's left are middle grade spirit stones, Su Yuan said angrily. Spirit stones are nothing. This is the middle of a huge magma lake. The fire attribute energy is very dense. An origin stone might have appeared, but we don't know who got it, Su Wang said coldly. Is that possible? Su Yuan said in shock. It's very possible. We're in the middle of this magma lake. Look at the edge of the magma pool. That's a sign that it hasn't cooled for long. That means the fire attribute energy here has decreased recently. The fire attribute energy here was much denser before. This means that a fire attribute treasure has been taken away, Su Wang said. Then what should we do? We can't guess which direction this person left in. Su Yuan was a bit anxious. This time he came out with instructions from his sect seniors, so he naturally knew how precious the Heaven's Mandate stone was. What kind of concept was this? At least he didn't go out the way he came. We can see him that way. Let's go out and check. Su Wang walked out of the cave. In front of the Destiny Stone, middle-grade spirit stones were nothing. As they checked, they found the tiger eagle claw mark. That bastard, he has a flying beast, Su Yuan cursed. To be able to fly out of this magma lake, it must be a high-level flying beast. We don't know which direction he flew in. This claw mark is special. It's not an ordinary flying beast. We can recognize it when we see it. Let's stick to our original plan and head towards the place with the denser energy. The treasure might not be the only place, Su Wang said. If we want to fly, can our golden-eye sparrow withstand the temperature of the magma lake? Su Yuan was unsure. No, we have to go out the way we came. Flying above the magma lake will consume a lot of energy. If we can't fly out, we'll be dead. Su Wang did not dare to take the risk. Night Sorrow dared to take the risk because he had the spiritual spring nectar and a large amount of spiritual origin nectar. Su Wang also had spirit spring water, but he only had a small amount. He would not waste it here. In fact, if he hadn't obtained a large amount of origin spiritual liquid from the underground cave, Night Sorrow wouldn't have been able to fly on the Tiger Eagle. He really couldn't afford it. Night Sorrow withstood the impact of the energy as he advanced. He treated this as a form of cultivation. He ate the Flood Dragon Bone Forging Pill and Spiritual Origin Liquid to withstand the pressure as he advanced, using the pressure to temper the energy he absorbed. The Spiritual Origin Elixir was extremely helpful to the cultivation of true Qi, but it was not as helpful to the cultivation of the Myriad Daos treasured tome. Therefore, Night Sorrow wanted to consume the Dragon Floodbone Forging Pill. Time passed bit by bit, and Yi Shan's speed became slower and slower. Night Sorrow walked forward during the day and meditated at night. In any case, he had good wine and meat jerky in his storage ring, so his daily life was not a problem. After half a month, Night Sorrow felt that the pressure he was facing was about the same as the pressure at Danding Cliff. In other words, it would be very difficult for ordinary core condensation cultivators to advance here. However, Night Sorrow also saw a special area. It was a mountain whose peak could not be seen. Energy ribbons could be seen rotating around the mountain. Seeing this situation, Night Sorrow was very happy. This was the situation when he had obtained the fire and water elemental origin stones. Love Goblittle say, although he was happy, Night Sorrow knew that the next 100 miles would be very difficult to cross. After calming down, Night Sorrow started to attack again. He knew that it would be easy as long as he reached the foot of the mountain. The energy strips were produced when the energy exceeded the gaseous state and was close to the liquid state. At that time, the pressure would not be omnidirectional and could be avoided. What Night Sorrow didn't know was that in other directions, there were also people who were moving forward under the pressure, but their speed was much slower than his. Hundreds of miles to the east of Night Sorrow, several young men in embroidered clothes were constantly rushing forward. They were still far away from the mountain and could not see it. Brother Qingjie, we can't go on. If we continue to attack like this, there will be no end. A man in embroidered clothes said. The source of the energy suppression is definitely abnormal. It is very likely that there is a peerless treasure. Otherwise, no one will be able to get it. If we can get it, it will belong to our holy light religion. Then, you guys can slowly walk behind. I will attack first. Ho Qingjie said. After entering the different space, he had a breakthrough and entered the severed divinity stage. With the true qi protecting his body, he had an advantage over the others. Ho Qingjie slowly distanced himself from the others. It's meaningless for us to follow like this. Even if there are benefits, it will be taken away by others. Should we change direction? The man who spoke first suggested. His suggestion was adopted by the others. Several people separated to look for their own opportunities. In another direction, the same situation occurred. Everyone was not stupid. They knew that the source of the energy shock would be a precious treasure. It might be the destiny stone that the sect had urged them to obtain. However, the current situation was that the pressure was too great. Many people could not withstand it. Night Sorrow continued to attack. When he was 10 miles away from the bottom of the mountain, the energy suppression had reached the level of the 5,100 meters platform at Pill Tripod Cliff. The constant advance consumed a lot of Night Sorrow's energy. Fortunately, he had the spiritual liquid origin. If he consumed too much, he could directly use the spiritual liquid origin to replenish it. At the foot of the mountain, the energy suppression was reduced. Because the energy density had reached an extreme, it turned into energy stripes. It was not a seamless suppression. After taking a sip from the wine jug, Yi Shang turned around to look. Night Sorrow was very glad that he was able to reach here. The pressure in the final stage was at the 5,200 meters level at Pill Tripod Cliff. There were only a few core condensation disciples in the Medicine Valley who had reached this height. Other than that, it was a temporary impact. The pressure here was continuous for tens of thousands of miles. The people in the Medicine Valley could reach the 5,200 meters level at Pill Tripod Cliff, but they definitely could not reach here. Putting away the wine jar, Night Sorrow avoided the energy ripples and began to climb the mountain. The visible energy stripes were not much of a threat to Night Sorrow. He used the soaring dragon steps and quickly rushed to the top of the mountain. The lack of pressure made Night Sorrow feel abnormally relaxed. As he moved quickly, clouds and energy stripes appeared under him. However, he still could not see the end of the mountain. Night Sorrow continued to move and climb while avoiding the energy stripes that were getting denser and denser. 10,000 meters, 20,000 meters, Night Sorrow conquered higher and higher. Although there was no energy suppression, the feeling of emptiness and violence was still in his mind and heart. Head 4, Hair 0. The consumption was too great. Night Sorrow did not care about the heartache. He directly replenished his spiritual liquid origin and continued to attack the mountain. Chapter 285. Genius 1 second. Remember love go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. After looking at the clouds and energy strips below him, Night Sorrow raised his head and looked up. He still couldn't see the top of the mountain. Night Sorrow also noticed a special situation. The energy strips that he could see were blood-colored, but if he sensed it carefully, he would find that there was a very strong fluctuation outside of the red energy strips. It was an energy that couldn't be seen with the naked eye. In order to confirm his judgment, Night Sorrow broke off a rock from the mountain and threw it at the energy strips not far away. He threw it at the periphery of the blood-colored energy strips. The moment the rock was thrown, the energy fluctuation appeared and directly crushed the rock. The blood-colored energy strips only fluctuated a little. Night Sorrow took a deep breath. This rock confirmed his guess. The invisible energy outside of the blood-colored energy strips was the most dangerous. He didn't know what kind of energy it was, but he knew that it was very domineering. After stabilizing his emotions, Night Sorrow continued to charge upwards. He didn't believe that there was a mountain that he couldn't climb. As he climbed, the energy strips became denser. Night Sorrow was now also scouting ahead. He used the sky-piercing spear to scout ahead. He was also worried that he would encounter the invisible energy strips. 30,000 meters, 40,000 meters. Night Sorrow was extremely shocked. This wasn't a mountain range but a lone mountain. It was simply unimaginable that a lone mountain could have such a height. The highest mountain he had ever seen was the eastern snow mountain in the far east icefield, but it was far inferior to this. While throwing the sky-piercing spear with the ice flood dragon tendon, Night Sorrow climbed upwards. He didn't need to use the ice flood dragon tendon to climb, but he was afraid that the energy strips would send the sky-piercing spear flying. If that happened, he wouldn't be able to find it. Climbing wasn't strenuous. Night Sorrow mainly focused on dodging the energy strips. As for riding a flying demonic beast, Night Sorrow didn't dare to think about it. The energy strips dancing in the sky were definitely a forbidden zone for flying demonic beasts. 60,000 meters, 70,000 meters. Night Sorrow estimated that he had climbed about 70,000 meters. The mountain walls were getting steeper and steeper. Sometimes, Night Sorrow had to stab the sky-piercing spear into the mountain walls to climb up. Baidu search, AI go female sign shao say www.aichuxs.com. After climbing for a while, Night Sorrow finally saw the peak of the mountain. At the same time, he also saw the situation at the top of the mountain. In the sky above the mountain peak, there was an enormous spinning energy vortex. The energy vortex covered the sky. Slowly, Night Sorrow arrived at the peak of the mountain. Standing at the peak, Night Sorrow felt what it meant to be lonely at the top. This was the true peak of a mountain. The peak of the mountain was only 20 to 30 feet in radius. This mountain was more than 70,000 meters tall. And there was only a small landing area at the peak, surrounded by cliffs. This lone peak was like a sharp awl, and Night Sorrow was standing at the tip of the awl. Above Night Sorrow's head was a huge energy vortex. Love go little sake Night Sorrow couldn't see how big the vortex was, but circles of blood-colored energy were spinning in the vortex. Night Sorrow knew that in the middle of the blood-colored stripes, there were even more tyrannical invisible energy stripes. Above Night Sorrow's head was the center of the vortex, and there were two round beads at the center. The one in the middle was a pale purple bead the size of an egg. It was spinning rapidly on its own. Not far from it, there was a blood-colored bead. The blood-colored bead was spinning around the purple bead like the energy vortex. Destiny stones. After observing these two beads, Night Sorrow knew what they were. They were destiny stones. Moreover, they weren't ordinary destiny stones. They were the spatial origin of this fiendish space. The blood-colored one was the fiendish chi origin stone. It should be called the origin bead because it was an existence that surpassed the origin stone. Night Sorrow didn't know what attribute the other bead was, but he knew that the feeling of emptiness and powerlessness was coming from this bead. Fiendish space. Could this be the origin stone of the void attribute? This thought appeared in Night Sorrow's mind. After letting Tianyu out and telling Tianyu to stand still, Night Sorrow flashed and stood on the back of Tianyu's neck. His right hand, which was wearing a claw glove, reached for the Blood Fiend Destiny bead. He knew that the core of this place was the purple Destiny bead, so it wasn't wrong to grab it first. After being grabbed by Night Sorrow, the Blood Fiend Destiny bead shook a few times and then stopped moving. Yi Shang took out a jade box and put it away. He put the Blood Fiend Destiny pearl into his storage ring. Then he reached out to grab the Void Destiny pearl again. Just as he grabbed the purple Void Fate bead, Night Sorrow's expression changed. The shaking force was too strong, and he almost couldn't grab it. Landing on the ground from Tianyu's back, Night Sorrow's true chi and myriad Tao Tome's energy exploded at the same time. His right hand tightly grabbed the purple Destiny bead. His right hand almost couldn't hold it anymore. Night Sorrow put his left hand together and grabbed the purple Destiny bead with both hands. When his left hand and right hand came together, something that shocked Night Sorrow happened. The purple Void Fate bead drilled into Night Sorrow's bare left hand. Like a wave of energy, it directly entered Night Sorrow's dantian. Then, it stopped beside Night Sorrow's dantian and stopped moving. This situation shocked Night Sorrow. Such a dangerous thing had actually entered his dantian. Any shake could destroy his dantian, and it could even blow Night Sorrow into pieces. Night Sorrow carefully tried to circulate his true chi. After feeling that there was no problem, he used his true chi to hit the purple Destiny bead twice. The purple Destiny bead still didn't react. Only then did Night Sorrow put his foot down. When Night Sorrow felt a little more at ease, his expression changed again. At this time, the wind and clouds changed. The energy whirlpool in the sky began to riot because it had lost its core. The strips of energy surrounding the mountain began to disperse, turning into a visible energy ball. Night Sorrow didn't care about that. He let out Tianyu and had Tianyu dodge the energy ball. Then he rode Tianyu down the mountain. He told Tianyu that if he was sucked in by the energy ball, he would be done for. Night Sorrow rode Tianyu down the mountain. The energy at the top of the mountain began to riot. Then it blew up the mountain and continued to press down. The sound of explosions continued to ring out. The energy pressed down closely behind Night Sorrow and Tianyu. The sky was filled with rocks as they flew down the mountain. Tianyu also knew that the situation was urgent. His flying speed was peerless. It was as if he was competing with the falling rocks. Night Sorrow turned around and looked at the mountain that was getting shorter and shorter. He was very shocked. He had destroyed this great monument of nature. X $8 unique/original version 1. W's is the Q Steely version. The peak of the mountain had been flattened. It was 10,000 meters high. The mountain had become thicker, but the energy ball didn't break. However, the surface of the mountain was still exploding, but the speed had decreased. After all, the mountain had become thicker. Tianyu, speed up. Let's run. Now that there was no danger, Night Sorrow was excited. He waved his arms and shouted. Tianyu let out a cry and continued to fly down the mountain. The harvest this time was too great. 2 space source stones. They were the source of the entire space. How could Night Sorrow not be happy? But then a problem appeared. The Nihility Fate Pearls and Blood Evil Fate Pearls were taken away. The originally incomparably tyrannical energy suppression disappeared. The others did not have to endure the pressure anymore. All kinds of flying demon beasts appeared and flew towards the lone peak. Everyone knew that this was a key area. Night Sorrow saw the black dots from afar and immediately understood what was going on. Chapter 286. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow rode on Tianyu and flew close to the mountain peak. Due to the angle, the people in the distance couldn't see them. Love go little, say W. Chu. At this moment, Tianyu's speed was extremely fast. It knew that the situation was urgent. Since it had lived with Night Sorrow since it was young, Night Sorrow had never urged it. Night Sorrow was descending rapidly. The disciples of the super sects were riding on flying demonic beasts, and didn't notice that Night Sorrow had already slipped down. When they weren't far from the bottom of the mountain, Night Sorrow rode on Tianyu and began to fly horizontally. Just when Night Sorrow thought that everything was fine, a few men rode on flying demonic beasts and blocked his path. Which force are you from? What happened here? A man looked at Night Sorrow and asked. I don't know. I just arrived. Night Sorrow said. Leave your storage ring and flying demonic beasts and scram. The leader of the group, a man in a white robe, glanced at Night Sorrow and said, Get out of the way. I'll pretend that nothing happened. Night Sorrow didn't want to hurt anyone. He just wanted to leave. Do you want to die? Didn't you hear what my senior brother said? A young man in a brocade robe said flatteringly. Baidu search, AI go female sign shall say www.aichux.com. Since you want to die, I won't talk nonsense. Night Sorrow shouted for Tianyu to fight. Then 2 sky-piercing spears flew out. After shooting out the sky-piercing spears, Night Sorrow's body soared into the sky. The reincarnation spear slashed at the leader of the group. The reincarnation spear was also infused with vibration energy. Following 2 miserable screams, Night Sorrow's violent sky-piercing spears killed 2 young men who weren't prepared for battle at all. You're courting death. Seeing that 2 of his fellow disciples had been killed, the white-robed young man was enraged. He waved his saber and slashed towards Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. At the same time, he also left his mount. Ding! When the weapons collided, the young man's saber was deflected to the side. Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear swung and slashed across the young man's throat with ease. #+L is the only true YC version, and the other 1+3 are all pirated. After slashing the man's throat, Night Sorrow rushed towards the last person. Since he had already made his move, Knight Sorrow had no intention of leaving anyone alive. Stop. We are from the Scarlet Cloud sect. Seeing Knight Sorrow coming over, the man rode his flying beast and rushed up the mountain. His speed was incomparably fast. When Knight Sorrow killed his 2 companions with his sky-piercing spear, he had already retreated. He could tell that Knight Sorrow was no match for him. Seeing this guy running away, Knight Sorrow called back Tianyu, who was about to chase after him. If he wanted to chase after him, it would be a waste of time. With so many elites gathered here, it was better to leave. Knight Sorrow went to the corpses and collected the 2 storage rings, 1 storage belt, and 3 beast-taming crystals. He also collected the 3 green-feathered eagles from the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples, collected the sky-piercing reeds, and left on Tianyu. Knight Sorrow didn't need the flying beast, but many people did. The disciples of Yanglei, Aoi, and the others all lacked it. Knight Sorrow rode on Tianyu and flew rapidly in the sky. After flying for 700 to 800 li, he saw Yu, Lin Tianjue, Gu Lin, and 2 other disciples of the Medicine Valley. Knight Sorrow. Yu shouted. Knight Sorrow controlled Tianyu to stop in the air and said, "The disciples of all the forces have gathered in front. There's nothing to gain, and there will be a chaotic battle." "All right, let's retreat then." Yu nodded. "All right. I just killed a few people. Our robes are the same. Don't count it to me." Knight Sorrow didn't wait for them and left. He still had to find resources. Knight Sorrow left, but Lin Tianjue didn't move. "Martial uncle, I think this is an opportunity. Knight Sorrow doesn't dare to fight with him alone, but we have more people," Lin Tianjue said. "In terms of seniority, he's your martial uncle. How can you call him by his name? Gu Lin, what do you think?" Yu glared at Lin Tianjue, and then looked at Gu Lin and the others. "I'll listen to martial uncle and senior brother Lin," Gu Lin and the others said. Some of them were already out of ideas. They had already lost a few people on the way here. If they split up now, it would be very dangerous. "I'm going. I can't come here for nothing." Lin Tianjue had already made up his mind. "All right then. Let's go." Seeing Lin Tianjue's insistence, Yu didn't object. After all, they had been together for a long time. The escaping Scarlet Cloud sect's disciple flew towards the peak of the mountain. When he reached the peak, he saw the scene of a confrontation. The disciples of the major forces were facing each other and looking around. "Senior brother Lei Bao, a few of our senior brothers were killed by a guy riding a white flying demonic beast." The Scarlet Cloud sect's disciple came to the front of the Thunder Rumbling sect's leader. "A white flying demonic beast. Shangqiu, take a look. Is this the feather?" Lei Bao took out a white feather and handed it to the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciple. It was a feather that Tianyu had dropped when he was hit by a rock. Thunder Rumbling sect and Scarlet Cloud sect were allies. This time, Scarlet Cloud sect had also entered through the passage of Thunder Rumbling sect. "Yes, that's right. It's the flying demonic beast with this feather." The Scarlet Cloud sect's disciple, Shangqiu, took a look at the feather and said, "He's the one who got here before us. Let's go." Lei Bao glanced at the disciples of the other forces and flew down the mountain. Since they knew who had arrived before them, they had to find him first. Lei Bao was the leader of the Thunder Rumbling sect's disciples, and had already entered the Severed God realm. Soon after, some of the disciples of the other sects left to chase after Knight Sorrow. Some of them searched the peak of the mountain, hoping to find an opportunity. More and more people left. Those who came here were the elites of the major forces. They weren't brainless. The environment here had been destroyed, which meant that the treasure that controlled the balance here had been lost. Before Yu and Lin Tianjue reached the peak, they were stopped by Lei Bao and the others. Shangqiu had pointed out that Yu and the others were the same as Knight Sorrow. Soon after, a battle broke out. Because Lei Bao had entered the 4th level, Yu and Lin Tianjue were no match for him. They were all seriously injured and captured. "Who's the one riding the white mount?" Lei Bao looked at Yu. "I don't know." Yu answered Lei Bao and turned his head to the side. "Tell me, who are you? Who's the one riding the white mount?" Lei Bao asked Gu Lin. "If you want to kill us, then kill us. Don't talk so much nonsense. We are all cultivators." Humiliating us is meaningless. Gulin spat out a mouthful of blood and said, "Then tell me. If you don't, then there's no point in keeping you alive." Lei Bao's heavy sword was placed on Lin Tianjue's neck. Lin Tianjue was silent. He didn't expect Lei Bao to be so ruthless when he asked him this question. "You are different from them." They didn't hesitate when they answered. "Even if you killed them, they wouldn't say anything." "I know that. But you will say it's because your eyes are wandering and you are afraid of death." Lei Bao's heavy sword slowly pressed down on Lin Tianjue's neck. Chapter 287. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. They don't even have confidence in you, haha. Are you going to talk or not? If you don't, then die. Lei Bao laughed and continued to press his heavy sword against Lin Tianjue's neck. "I'll talk." Looking at Lei Bao's cold face, Lin Tianjue was scared. "Lin Tianjue, you piece of trash." Gulin scolded. Ignoring Gulin, Lin Tianjue spilled the beans and told him everything about Night Sorrow. "Let him go." Lei Bao pointed at EU. CDG version IP Chapter 5 on TD the Disciple of Thunder Sect released EU. You have a backbone and strength. How about this? You go find Night Sorrow and tell him that the people of Medicine Valley are in our hands. Tell him to go to the entrance. I'll wait for you there. Lei Ming looked at EU and said. EU looked at Lei Ming and didn't say anything. He went over and helped the other disciples of Medicine Valley up and gave them healing pills. Go ahead. Don't think about saving Night Sorrow. I'll get the location of the entrance to Medicine Valley from him. You can give up on this shameless guy, but what about them? Lei Bao put away his heavy sword and slapped Lin Tianjue's face. Then he pointed at Gulin and the other two. I'll tell him, but please don't abuse the disciples of Medicine Valley. Yi looked at Gulin and the others and said. Lei Ming raised his leg and broke one of Lin Tianjue's legs. This is not worth your pleading. As for them, as long as they don't run, I won't make it difficult for them. After breaking Lin Tianjue's leg, Lei Bao said, Trash. Martial Uncle Yi didn't let you come, but you insisted on coming. Then, you shamelessly betrayed your fellow disciples. Even if others don't punish you, I won't let you go. Gulin glared at Lin Tianjue. Lin Tianjue's face turned pale. He didn't expect Lei Bao to be so ruthless. Lei Bao was very famous in Thunder Sect. Before he entered the spirit severing stage, he was invincible in the core condensation stage of Thunder Sect. Give him some resources and a few healing pills. Lei Bao said to a Thunder Sect disciple behind him. Lei Bao took Yu and the other storage rings. The Thunder Sect disciple took out a storage belt and threw it to Yu. Go find Yishang. We'll head towards the passageway of your Medicine Valley. After you find him, don't leave the passageway. If you do, the other disciples of the Medicine Valley won't be able to leave, Lei Bao said. He planned to block the spatial passageway of the Medicine Valley. Yu didn't say anything. He flashed onto the back of the flying beast and left, following the path Yishang had taken. It did not matter if Lin Tianjue was saved or not, but there were still the 3 elite disciples of the Medicine Valley. Furthermore, Lei Bao would go to the spatial passageway and make things difficult for the other Medicine Valley disciples. Night Sorrow is the strongest person in the Medicine Valley team. No matter what Night Sorrow does, Night Sorrow must know. Night Sorrow traveled for more than 5,000 miles before he got down from Tianyu's back. He let Tianyu recover while he took a rest. This distance is relatively unsafe, but Night Sorrow is not afraid. At least he won't be surrounded. As long as he is not surrounded, Night Sorrow is not afraid of any battle. Night Sorrow first organized the materials of the Red Cloud Sect disciples. The 3 of them also collected a lot of herbs. Night Sorrow felt that the 4th and 5th level materials can be used to refine a lot of pills. After organizing the materials, Night Sorrow began to meditate cross-legged. There is still something in his dantian that can go wrong at any time, the Void Fate Pearl. He controlled the spiritual energy in his dantian to collide and refine the Void Fate Pearl. Night Sorrow studied it for an hour, but there was no reaction from the Void Fate Pearl. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow calmed down a little. It was an opportunity to obtain the Void Fate Pearl. Normally, the void fate pearl would not hurt him. If it did not approve of him, it would not enter his dantian. Feeling that there is no problem, Night Sorrow began to cultivate after consuming the spiritual liquid of origin. He is not far from the 9th level of the core formation realm. He may reach the peak of the 8th level at any time. Under the high pressure, it is difficult for Night Sorrow to cultivate slowly even if he wants to. After cultivating for a night, Night Sorrow began to move forward. He let Tianyu patrol in the air, while he walked on the ground to look for spiritual herbs. Night Sorrow did not expect to have any big harvest. He has already obtained the space origin of the void fiendish space. What big harvest is there to look for? Perhaps there are other space origins in other places. But in this space with a radius of millions of miles, it is as difficult as ascending to the heavens to find it. It is a heaven-defying opportunity to encounter it. What Night Sorrow did not know is that it is not only the people from the Thunder Rumbling sect and EU who are looking for him. People from other sects are also looking for Night Sorrow, who is wearing a white battle suit and riding a white demonic beast. Many people heard the conversation between Shang Qiu and Lei Bao. Everyone believed that Gu Feng's treasure was taken by Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow walked in the direction of the Medicine Valley. While looking for opportunities, he also improved his cultivation. After walking for a day, when they were about to set up camp in the evening, Tianyu in the sky let out a cry. 2 people appeared in Night Sorrow's sight. "Senior brother, it should be him." A man in a black robe said. "These 2 people are from the Holy Light Temple. They have been to Gu Feng's peak and saw Tianyu, so they made this judgment." Seeing the hostility of these 2 people, Night Sorrow did not say anything. He took out the sky-piercing spear and threw it. These 2 sky-piercing spears were dodged by the 2 Holy Light Temple disciples. However, Night Sorrow threw out another 2 spears. These 2 sky-piercing spears, which were imbued with vibration scripture, bounced off the other side's blocking weapons and directly nailed them to death. Night Sorrow stepped forward and collected the storage belts of the 2 guys. After taking back the sky-piercing spears, he left. If it was a strong opponent, Night Sorrow would be interested in exchanging pointers with them. However, this was also a level 8 core condensation stage opponent. Night Sorrow was not interested. Half an hour after Night Sorrow left, Yu appeared. Seeing the blood stains that had not dried up and the wounds of the 2 people, he suddenly felt happy. He could see that the wounds were penetrating wounds, traces of a spear-type weapon. However, there were not many people who use spears. In this different space, he had not seen anyone who used a spear. At present, he only knew that Night Sorrow used a spear. Riding on his flying demonic beast, Yu began to give chase. He had to find Yi Sorrow. The current situation was still not out of control. If he could solve the problem before Lei Bao gathered the Thunder Rumbling sect disciples to block the entrance, then the crisis would be resolved. After chasing for a while, Yu saw Night Sorrow, who was making a fire and roasting meat. Night Sorrow. Jumping off the flying demon beast, Yu staggered toward Night Sorrow. What happened to you? Night Sorrow helped Yu up and poured a bowl of wine for him. He could see that Yu was injured. "We have a problem. Do you have any way to solve it?" After drinking a bowl of wine, Yu explained the situation in detail. "Lin Tianjue. What a scourge. Where are they now?" Night Sorrow was very annoyed. He had already said that he did not want to go, but Lin Tianjue still wanted to go. In the end, he even betrayed him. This was a typical shameless villain. Chapter 288. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. They should be behind us. I followed the direction you went. Lin Tianjue and the people from the Thunder Rumbling sect should be heading in the direction of the Medicine Valley, Yu said. Let's go intercept them. We can't let them go to the Medicine Valley's entrance to the alternate dimension. Otherwise, it will be troublesome and bring danger to the others, Night Sorrow said. But they have a lot of people. That Lei Bao has a cultivation of the 4th rank. Although Yu felt that Night Sorrow's words made sense, she was worried that they wouldn't be a match for Lei Bao's group. I'll deal with Lei Bao. Can you hold off the others for a while? Night Sorrow asked after thinking for a while. I need to recover. My injuries will affect my battle, Yu said apologetically. Take this. If you can't hold them off, throw it at them. When you do, use your true chi to break the cloth bag. Night Sorrow gave the first simple poison stone he made to Yu. What's this? Yu looked at Night Sorrow in confusion while holding the cloth bag. Poison stone. As long as it comes into contact with flesh, it will corrode the opponent's flesh and bones, Night Sorrow said. Hearing Night Sorrow's words, Yu's hand trembled. This inconspicuous bag of stones was too ruthless. Love go little say W2 then let's go find them now. Let's find their tracks first and then find an opportunity to make our move. Night Sorrow said as he stood up. Night Sorrow, my flying demonic beast has run out of energy. Yu glanced at his eagle trainer and said, Don't worry. You can ride on this. Night Sorrow casually summoned the tiger hawk. Looking at the ferocious tiger hawk, Yu was shocked. You have 2 flying beasts? Yes, let's go. Saving the others is more important. Night Sorrow flashed onto Tianyu's back. Seeing Yu also get on the tiger eagle's back, Night Sorrow gave the order to fly because the tiger eagle wouldn't listen to Yu. Sitting on the back of the tiger eagle, Yu ate some food. Night Sorrow also gave Yu some healing medicine. During battle, Yu had to contribute. Yu pointed in a direction, looking for the path they came from. Night Sorrow only knew how to identify the direction. He didn't really pay attention to the path. After chasing for 2 days, Night Sorrow and Yu found some traces. They were the claw marks of several flying demonic beasts, and some blood-stained medicinal cloths that had been thrown away. It shouldn't be wrong. They're not far ahead of us, Night Sorrow said after looking at the marks on the ground. Night Sorrow, what do you plan to do? How are you going to fight? Yu's priority was Night Sorrow. Our priority is to save the others. The rest is secondary, Night Sorrow said. There's another situation. Lin Tianjue's leg is broken and it's not easy to save him. However, if we don't save him, the location of the Medicine Valley's entrance will be exposed. Yu looked at Night Sorrow and said. Then if there's a chance, we'll take care of him, Night Sorrow said. Yu nodded. He also wanted to kill Lin Tianjue. After all, Lin Tianjue had betrayed the Medicine Valley, his senior and junior brothers, and his uncle master's elders. The 2 of them chased slowly while Yu recovered from his injuries. One day later Yu spoke. Night Sorrow, I can fight now. That's good. After they set up camp at night, the 2 of us will take action. Your main task is to save the others, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow, you have to take care of your own safety. If you can't do it, retreat. This incident was caused by us, Yu said apologetically. Night Sorrow shook his head. There's no use thinking about it now. When the time comes, throw the people you save onto the tiger eagles. Their safety will be guaranteed. At night, Night Sorrow and Yu sneaked to Lei Bao's camp. Gu Lin and 2 other disciples of the Medicine Valley sat together with their hands tied. Lin Tianjue was on the other side. Gu Lin and the others hated Lin Tianjue so much that they didn't want to sit with him. Around Gu Lin and the other 2 sat 3 disciples of the Thunder Clan. Beside Lin Tianjue was a disciple of the Thunder Clan, and there was another tent. Night Sorrow and Yu knew that it was where Lei Bao and the other disciple were staying. Night Sorrow took out 2 sky-piercing spears and pointed to where Gu Lin and the others were. More. T knew 7 fastest. Yu nodded and took out his long sword. When Yu was ready, Night Sorrow made his move. The 2 sky-piercing spears shot towards the 2 disciples of the Thunder Clan who were guarding Gu Lin and the others. With a loud explosion, Night Sorrow's 2 sky-piercing spears killed the 2 disciples of the Thunder Clan. After releasing the tiger eagles, Night Sorrow waved his reincarnation spear and charged towards the last disciple of the Thunder Clan who was guarding Gu Lin and the others. Now that there was no one around Gu Lin and the others, Gu Lin waved his long sword and cut the ropes binding them. He then threw them onto the back of the tiger eagles. After doing this, Yu charged towards the disciple of the Thunder Clan who was guarding Lin Tianjue. Ding! Night Sorrow's sure-kill spear attack towards the disciple of the Thunder Clan was blocked. Night Sorrow was forced back 2 steps, while the disciple of the Thunder Clan was pulled behind a man. You are Night Sorrow? Lei Bao asked. It was Lei Bao who saved the disciple of the Thunder Clan. Yes, I am. Night Sorrow looked at Lei Bao. Lei Bao's strength was very strong. The violent energy that was transmitted to Night Sorrow's hand made Night Sorrow somewhat uncomfortable. Don't move. If you come any closer, I'll kill him. The other disciple of the Thunder Clan, who was holding Lin Tianjue, couldn't resist Yu's attack. He retreated a few steps and put his long sword on Lin Tianjue's neck. Lei Jing, kill him and then come over. Lei Ming said to the disciple of the Thunder Clan who was holding Lin Tianjue. You can't kill me. Lin Tianjue's expression changed greatly as he shouted. You are not the same as them. They don't want to talk. I didn't make things difficult for you guys in the Medicine Valley, because I would do the same if it were me. But you are too unprincipled. Lei Bao waved his hand at Lei Jing. Lei Jing waved his sword and cut off Lin Tianjue's neck. Night Sorrow and Lei Bao looked at each other. On the other side, Yu also took back Night Sorrow's sky-piercing spear. You are very brave. Then let's settle this in a man's way. If you win, you can take all of them and these. If you lose, you have to hand over what you got in the Lonely Peak. Lei Bao waved his hand and threw out the storage rings of Yu, Gulin and the others. Good. If I knew you would settle this in this way, I wouldn't have killed them. Night Sorrow glanced at the corpses of the two people he had just killed and said, This is the fate of practitioners. If you lose, I will avenge them. If I can't win, then I have fulfilled my responsibility as a fellow disciple. Lei Bao said, Then come on. Night Sorrow waved his arm and twisted the reincarnation spear in his right hand. The blade of the spear made a soft sound, announcing the start of the battle. Chapter 289. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Lei Bao knew that if they were to fight, the result would not be good. There would be casualties among the disciples of the Thunder Clan. Love go little say W. Chuan Night Sorrow's side, he had already rescued the person, so he had nothing to worry about. If he wanted to leave, they might not be able to stop him. In addition, Lei Bao also wanted to fight fair and square. Night Sorrow's spear just now had made his fighting spirit boil. Brandishing the heavy sword in his hand, Lei Bao jumped up and slashed towards Night Sorrow. The tip of the heavy sword shot out half a foot-long sword chi. This was the signature of a 4th-rank cultivator, the release of chi. 3rd-rank cultivators had Dan beads, so their chi was very condensed. 4th-rank cultivators could release their chi to form a protective chi, and it could also be used to attack. Seeing Lei Bao rushing towards him, Night Sorrow stabbed his spear towards Lei Bao. Ding! Their weapons collided. Night Sorrow took 2 steps back, and Lei Bao was also pushed back by Night Sorrow. One move, neither of them had the upper hand. Night Sorrow's shock force was cancelled out. Lei Bao also had a special technique, the explosive force. The shock force was cancelled out, but Night Sorrow's body was strong, so he did not lose out. Instead, he had the upper hand. The two of them did not move and looked at each other. It was the first time Night Sorrow met an opponent who could resist his shock force. Lei Bao was the same. He was shocked. His cultivation was 2 levels higher than Night Sorrow, and there was a gap of 1 level between them. Even with the explosive force, he still could not gain the upper hand. After looking at each other, the two of them continued to fight. The sound of chi colliding could be heard continuously. Although Lei Bao was at a disadvantage because he was not as strong as Night Sorrow, his chi was strong enough to resist the shock force. He could still fight head-on with Night Sorrow. The battlefield between the two was constantly shifting. The thunderstorm sword technique was violent and exquisite. It could block Night Sorrow's wind-chasing spear technique, but if it wanted to block Night Sorrow's spear technique, it would be impossible for it to continue attacking. Thunderstorm was able to block it, but Night Sorrow continued to bombard it. He knew that Thunderstorm was consuming more energy than him. The battle between the two had attracted the attention of the disciples of the Thunder Rumbling clan and the Medicine Valley. This was simply not a battle of this level. It was too wild and overbearing. Lei Bao had the ability to fight above his level, and similarly, Night Sorrow also had the ability to fight above his level. Just using the sword technique was not enough. Lei Bao used the heavy sword in his right hand to block Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. Then he used his left hand to send a palm strike towards Night Sorrow. Lei Bao's palm attack was exactly what Night Sorrow wanted. Night Sorrow's left hand, which was wearing the azure claw glove, met Lei Bao's left hand. When he sent out the palm strike, an energy whirlpool with a diameter of 1.5 feet appeared on his hand. The night light was not good, and there were only a few piles of charcoal. When Lei Bao realized that something was wrong, it was already too late for him to withdraw his attack. He could only send all the qi in his body to his left hand to protect his left hand, and continue to attack. Bang! With a muffled sound, the two separated. Night Sorrow took 2 steps back, but Lei Bao did not. Lei Bao was directly sent flying by Night Sorrow's Vajra hand, which was infused with the energy of the myriad Tao Tome. After Lei Bao landed on the ground, his left hand was trembling, and his expression was extremely unnatural. Lei Bao was at a great disadvantage. 1/3 of his qi protection was shattered by Night Sorrow. Not only did he consume a lot of energy, the bones in his left hand were also shattered. After repelling Lei Bao with one move, Night Sorrow stomped his foot and charged towards Lei Bao. At this moment he did not consume a lot of energy, so he could fight against Lei Bao. Although Lei Bao's left hand was injured and consumed a lot of energy, it did not affect his fighting strength. His violent sword art was still able to block Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear attack. However, he did not use his explosive force to attack, and instead used it to defend against Night Sorrow's shock force attack. It was impossible for Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear to rely on the shock force to repel Lei Bao's heavy sword. Seeing that Lei Bao used his explosive force to defend, Night Sorrow immediately changed the way he used his strength. He changed the shock force into the wave force. The wave force was not as ferocious as the shock force, but wave after wave of continuous bombardment made it even harder for Lei Bao to defend. After being bombarded by Night Sorrow's violent spear once again, Lei Bao retreated a few steps and waved his hand at the advancing Night Sorrow. If you only want to take them away, then you win. If you want to take revenge for him or have other thoughts, then I can only fight with my life. You can kill me, but you will have to pay a great price. Lei Bao glanced at Lin Tianjue's corpse and said, "He is not worth my revenge. I will save them." Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards Lei Bao. He knew that Lei Bao was very magnanimous and would have a life-saving trump card. He was definitely not bluffing. Lei Jing, bury them. I, Lei Bao, am in the wrong for this matter. For the opportunity, I can only look for you like this. I am not your opponent, so the opportunity is yours. I will not have any more thoughts about it. Lei Bao said after putting away his heavy sword. AB latest chapter #Part 1, Magnanimous. I am very grateful that you did not make things difficult for them. Night Sorrow took out a jar of wine and threw it to Lei Bao. He appreciated people like Lei Bao, who was straightforward and not hypocritical. Lei Bao took the wine jar, opened it and drank 2 mouthfuls. Not bad, good wine. I believe that we will have a chance to meet again. If you don't mind, we will be friends again. Good. Next time we meet, we will be friends. EU, pack up and leave. Night Sorrow nodded, and then shouted to EU. There is one more thing I need to tell you. The passage that your Medicine Valley used to enter here may have been exposed. Thunder Rumbling Clan and Red Cloud Clan are allies. Red Cloud Clan's Shang Qiu asked him to draw a map and then took it away. Because we are allies, although I was not happy, I did not stop him. After all, your news was brought to me by Shang Qiu. Lei Bao pointed at Lin Tianjue's corpse and said, "Some things are unavoidable. Thank you for reminding me." Night Sorrow cupped his fists at Lei Bao and then released Tianyu. He flashed to Tianyu's back and gave the order to the tiger eagle in the sky. On the other side, Yu had already received the resources from Gu Lin and the others and got on the back of her tiger trainer. After flying for 1,000 miles, Night Sorrow let Tianyu and the tiger eagle land. The night was still not safe. Demon beasts were rampant, and they would be in danger if they were not careful. After getting off the tiger trainer, Yu returned the storage rings, resources, and beast-taming crystals that Lei Bao had robbed from Gu Lin and the others. Thank you for saving us, Martial Uncle. Gu Lin and the others bowed to Night Sorrow to express their gratitude. At the same time, they felt guilty. If they had not gone to the Lonely Peak, none of this would have happened. I am glad that Lin Tianjue was the only one who betrayed me. However, because of me, you guys have to suffer. Night Sorrow said. We did not suffer. The disciples of Thunder Rumbling Clan only tied us up and did not let us escape. They did not bully us. It was that scum Lin Tianjue who was often beaten up. Gu Lin said. All of you should recuperate. We don't have time to continue looking for opportunities. If we return to the passageway too late, the other disciples of the Medicine Valley will be caught in the crossfire, Yi Shang said. Chapter 290. Genius 1 Second. Remember Love Go divided by Xiao? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Chapter equals section N on %. The truth was obvious. When they first met Lei Bao and fought, Yu and Gu Lin attacked Lei Bao at the same time. After a few rounds, they were injured by Lei Bao and were captured. Baidu search Love Go female sign Xiao Shua www.aichux. Now, Night Sorrow defeated the overbearing Lei Bao by himself. After feeding Tianyu and Tiger Eagle Beast pills, Night Sorrow sat down to cultivate. Gu Lin and the others changed shifts. Everyone knew that it was not safe at night. After cultivating until the second half of the night, Night Sorrow realized that his true chi had reached a bottleneck. He had reached the peak of level 8 core formation and needed to advance. Looking at the sky, Night Sorrow called Gu Lin, who was on night duty. I'm going into seclusion. Wait for me when the sun rises. After instructing Gu Lin, Night Sorrow asked Tianyu to guard him and went to breakthrough. Baidu search Love Go female sign Xiao Shua www.aichux. Gu Lin stayed outside to guard Night Sorrow. The sky soon brightened. Night Sorrow was also at the point of breaking through. The ninth energy halo was slowly forming. Gu Lin, Yu, and the others were on guard outside. They were extremely shocked. Night Sorrow had only been in the Medicine Valley for less than 2 years. He had already reached level 9 core formation, which one of them had not cultivated for more than 10 years. After successfully breaking through, Night Sorrow stabilized his cultivation before ending his cultivation. After getting up, Night Sorrow looked at everyone. If there's nothing else, let's set off. Return to the entrance and arrange for the others to prepare for an emergency. Love Go Xiao Shua Wuku. Okay. Yu nodded and got on the back of the eagle trainer. The others also released their flying beasts. These people were all in the top 10 of the pill leaderboard. They all had flying beasts and were very strong. They were captured a while ago because they met the abnormal Lei Bao. It's just that it delayed the search for resources, Gu Lin said regretfully. Night Sorrow glanced at Gu Lin and the others and said, if you can't get the resources, then we'll just rob you. Anyone who comes near the entrance of the Medicine Valley has bad intentions. We'll just rob you directly. Martial Uncle is so domineering. Gu Lin and the others laughed. Night Sorrow told Tianyu to ignore Yu's eagle training and began to meditate to stabilize his cultivation. In the following days, the group sped up their journey. It was a long journey. Night Sorrow had taken more than a month to get here. Although he had wasted some time due to the pressure, it was impossible for him to return quickly. Night Sorrow cultivated on Tianyu's back during the day, but he was not idle at night either. After half a month, Night Sorrow's cultivation had increased a little. His bone forging cultivation had also reached the peak of the 5th level. He had finished strengthening his chest and abdomen. As long as he strengthened his bone marrow, he would enter the 6th level of the bone forging realm. When they set up camp at night, Night Sorrow purposely stayed away from the others. He had the Tiger Eagle stand guard outside. After Tianyu stayed close to him, he began to break through. Strengthening his bone marrow was a painful process, but Night Sorrow had already gotten used to it. However, he did not expect a situation to occur. Night Sorrow was in extreme pain. His body was trembling and his forehead was covered in sweat. His facial muscles were twitching uncontrollably. This was discovered by Yu, who was on night duty. Yu was shocked. He planned to wake Night Sorrow up. This kind of situation was usually caused by a heart demon. Just as Yu was about to wake Night Sorrow up, Tianyu could not take it anymore and began to attack. Facing Tianyu's attack, Yu retreated, not knowing what to do. EU had no choice but to call Gulin and the others over. What should we do? If we forcefully wake him up, his martial uncle will be seriously injured. Perhaps he can survive, said Gulin. How can this be? He's just cultivating, not breaking through. How can there be a heart demon? EU anxiously paced back and forth. Knight Sorrow was still working hard to break through. As the most important part of his bone marrow was strengthened, the pain lessened and his external condition improved. Seeing this, EU and the others relaxed. They did not know that if they really interrupted Knight Sorrow, it would be troublesome. In the middle of the night, Yishang successfully raised the myriad Tao scriptures bone-forging realm cultivation, level to the 6th level. Knight Sorrow did not get up. He stabilized his cultivation until dawn. He took out a wine jar and drank 2 mouthfuls. Martial uncle, are you all right? Asked Gulin as he walked over. I'm fine. What could happen to me? Said Knight Sorrow with a smile. He was in a good mood now that his cultivation had increased. You encountered a heart demon last night. It's good that you can survive, said Gulin as he walked over. Yishang was stunned for a moment. He didn't know why everyone was looking at him strangely. We wanted to wake you up, but Tianyu stopped us, said Gulin. Knight Sorrow thought for a moment, and understood that it was caused by his breakthrough last night. Fortunately, Tianyu stopped them. Otherwise, it would be a big problem. I was cultivating. If you interrupted me, it would be troublesome. Let's not talk about it. Let's go. Knight Sorrow put away the tiger eagle and jumped onto Tianyu's back. Knight Sorrow felt a lingering fear. If Tianyu hadn't been so strong and knew how to protect his master, he would have been tricked. His breakthrough would have been interrupted, and his vitality would have been greatly damaged. He didn't know how long it would take to recover. This time, something had almost happened. Knight Sorrow decided to stay away from this group of people when breaking through in the future. It was too easy for something to happen. The following days were peaceful. There were monster attacks, but they were not strong. EU Gulin and the others took care of them. Half a month later, EU forced a breakthrough. He knew that there might be a big battle at the space passage of the Medicine Valley. If he did not improve his strength, Knight Sorrow could only fight alone. Knight Sorrow was very happy that EU broke through. EU was not as strong as Lei Bao when he entered the 4th stage, but he could suppress the peak of core condensation. It was a month and a half later when they returned to the space passage. Knight Sorrow, EU and the others guarded the entrance of the passage. Gulin went out of the passage and reported the situation to the sect. After a while Gulin came back. The Great Elder asked Knight Sorrow to go out. Knight Sorrow returned to the entrance through the space passage. At the entrance of the passage, the Great Elder and Lu Chen sat in the clouds. Disciple greets the Great Elder. Knight Sorrow bowed to salute. Gulin said that after you go in, you will guard the entrance of the passage and let the others come back smoothly. If there is an opponent you can't resist, then come back immediately. Don't make unnecessary sacrifices. The Great Elder said. Remember, safety is the first. As long as you come out, no one will dare to chase after you. Lu Chenyin reminded Knight Sorrow. After chatting with the Great Elder and Lu Chenyin for a while, Knight Sorrow returned to the space passage again. He knew that dozens of people entered the Medicine Valley. Only a few people went out, and most of them were still looking for opportunities inside. Days passed, and most of the disciples of the Medicine Valley came back. 3 months have passed. It was the same to go back to the passage to look for opportunities. If they went too far and missed the return date, it would be troublesome. No one would take this risk. The disciples of the Medicine Valley, who came back, knew that Knight Sorrow and EU were guarding here. They were willing to share some of the harvest, but Knight Sorrow refused and EU did not accept. Chapter 291. Genius 1 second. Remember love go divided by Xiao? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Knight Sorrow explained the situation to EU. Baidu search, AI go female sign Xiao say, www.ai2xs.com. Yes, Lei Bao of the Thunder Rumbling sect won't come, but other people might come. The Red Cloud sect will definitely come. I don't know if the Holy Light sect and the Golden Flame sect have received the news. No matter which force knows the news, they need enough time to go back. Should we come up with a strategy? Yu looked at Night Sorrow and said, avoid the edge? I've thought about it, but the disciples of the Medicine Valley are nearby. If we retreat, they will definitely search for us, and the disciples of the Medicine Valley will be killed. Night Sorrow said. Indeed. Gulin, go and ask the elders if they have any good ideas. Yu said to Gulin, asking him to ask for the elders' opinion. Gulin got up and left the passage. He went back and told the elders about the situation. Yu's cultivation was at the 4th stage, so he couldn't go out. The great elders' view was the same as Night Sorrow's. If they retreated, the scattered disciples of the Medicine Valley would be unlucky. The Medicine Valley couldn't abandon any of its disciples. The war finally came. 3 days after Night Sorrow's judgment, more than 40 people from the Red Cloud sect came. There were many disciples of the Red Cloud sect who entered the Void Fiend space, but they were scattered after entering. It was not easy to gather so many people in a limited time. Moreover, 3 of them broke through to the Spirit Severing stage, which was an amazing ratio. This was the foundation of a superforce that had been passed down for thousands of years. The more disciples there were, the more core condensation stage disciples there were. Hundreds of core condensation stage disciples could break through normally, and the proportion of disciples who broke through by force was high. Who is Night Sorrow? Hand over the resources we got this time, and we will retreat. Otherwise, the disciples of the Medicine Valley will be unlucky. A man in brocade clothes walked at the front and said, I am Night Sorrow. I will take whatever moves you have. Night Sorrow waved his reincarnation spear and said, we've already given out all the resources, so you can just give up on it. If you want to fight, we'll play with you. Love Gom Little say, Kuyu said coldly. If you don't send the resources in, then I'll kill you until you do. Remember, I'm Qi Xian of the Scarlet Cloud sect. Kill. When Qi Xian heard that Night Sorrow and the others had given out the resources, he immediately lost his mind and gave the order to kill. All of you stick together. If you can't hold on, just leave. Night Sorrow ignored Qi Xian. He executed the soaring dragon steps and circled around him. Brandishing his reincarnation spear, he charged toward the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. Night Sorrow wanted to stop killing with killing. If he were to fight with Qi Xian, the other disciples of the Red Cloud sect would surround and attack the disciples of the Medicine Valley. It would be a scene of devastation. Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear, which had a strength of over 20,000 jin, shook off a Scarlet Cloud sect disciple's weapon. With a swing of the reincarnation spear, the disciple was beheaded. The second Scarlet Cloud sect disciple couldn't withstand Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. His weapon was broken and his head was chopped into pieces. Night Sorrow's continuous killing shocked Qi Xian and the other 2 Spirit Severing stage Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. They didn't care about attacking Yu and the others and directly chased after Night Sorrow. If they ignored Night Sorrow, Qi Xian and the others could kill Yu and the others. However, if they did that, most of the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples would be killed by Night Sorrow. In the end, the loss outweighed the gain. Night Sorrow didn't fight with Qi Xian and the other 2 4th stage Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. He executed the soaring dragon steps and killed the other Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. When Night Sorrow's energy and true Qi were fully unleashed, none of the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples could withstand 2 moves. They were all killed in the second move. After a few rounds, 7 or 8 people were killed by Night Sorrow. The Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples' faces changed. They had never seen such a ferocious core condensation cultivator. Chundong, you block the front. Qi Zhonglie, you go to the side. Qi Xian's eyes were blood red. He chased after Night Sorrow. He hated Night Sorrow's ruthlessness. He didn't show any mercy and killed some of the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. Night Sorrow didn't want to fight them head-on. He turned around and continued to chase after the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. This time, Night Sorrow was chasing after Shangqiu. He knew that Shangqiu was the one who caused all this trouble. Shangqiu already knew of Night Sorrow's tyranny, so he immediately ran. Night Sorrow pulled out the sky-piercing spear and threw it with all his might. It pierced through Shangqiu's waist and nailed him to a huge rock. After dodging Chundong's slash, Night Sorrow continued to chase after the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. At this time, Yu and the others were no longer fighting. The Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples were in a mess because of Night Sorrow's pursuit. How could they have the energy to fight? They all ran to the side. Night Sorrow knew that the Scarlet Cloud sect had Scarlet Cloud needles. He didn't want to separate from the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples. He didn't want to give them a chance to use the needles, unless they didn't distinguish between friend and foe. What Night Sorrow didn't know was that the Scarlet Cloud sect's Scarlet Cloud needles were extremely difficult to make. Only the true core disciples or disciples with great potential were qualified to use them. Currently, only Qi Xian and Qi Zhonglia were qualified to use them. After Night Sorrow killed 16 or 17 people, the Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples ran behind Qi Xian, Qi Zhonglia, and Chen Dong. If they ran away, they would be killed by Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow, Qi Xian, Qi Zhonglia, and Chen Dong were facing each other. Qi Xian reached into his chest. Scarlet Cloud needles? I have one too. Night Sorrow took out the Scarlet Cloud needles he got last time. When Qi Xian touched his chest, Night Sorrow knew what he was going to do. How can you have Scarlet Cloud needles? Qi Xian's expression changed drastically. He looked at Night Sorrow in shock. Don't play dirty with me. Is Scarlet Cloud needles poisonous? Have you heard of bone rot poison? If you dare to use it, I won't hesitate to kill you, Night Sorrow said coldly. Qi Xian, Chen Dong, and Qi Zhonglia looked at each other. Qi Xian took out his hand. Qi Xian held it out with his palm facing up, so that Yishang could see it clearly. He knew Yishang's words were not a threat. If you dare to come, then I dare to kill. Unless I fall, I will kill a pair of Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples for every Medicine Valley disciple you kill. Night Sorrow put the Scarlet Cloud needles on his waist. Kill. When Night Sorrow put away the Scarlet Cloud needles, Qi Xian, Chen Dong, and Qi Zhonglia waved their weapons and charged at Night Sorrow. This was their chance to surround and kill Night Sorrow. E7 Forever XN Forever /Free V, read_o novel. Night Sorrow took a deep breath. He stomped his feet and jumped into the air. He threw his spear at Qi Xian. Qi Xian's saber slashed horizontally at the reincarnation spear. He did not want to take it head-on. However, if he dodged, Night Sorrow would rush into the crowd of Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples and kill them like a tiger in a flock of sheep. Currently, other than the three of them, no one could stop Night Sorrow's attack. Seeing Qi Xian block with his saber, Night Sorrow increased his vibration force to the maximum. Then he activated his Black Jade Spirit Qi. He wanted to defeat Qi Xian. If Qi Xian blocked him, then he would be surrounded by Qi Xian, Chen Dong, and Qi Zhonglia. The remaining Scarlet Cloud sect's disciples could then kill Yu and the others. Bang! With a muffled sound, Qi Xian's saber was knocked away. At the same time, his body was covered in a layer of frost. His eyes were filled with shock. Night Sorrow took a step forward and swung his spear at Qi Xian's neck. At the same time, his left hand slapped at Chen Dong's saber that was coming at his left shoulder. Chapter 292. Genius remembers love in 1 second /small? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow waved his reincarnation spear and slashed Qi Xian's throat, who was affected by the mysterious Jade Spirit Qi. His left hand also slapped Chen Dong's blade. At the same time, Qi Zhonglia's leg also kicked Night Sorrow's waist. Crisp and muffled sounds rang out continuously. Chen Dong's battle blade was blocked by Yishang's left hand that was wearing the azure claw glove. Qi Zhonglia's kick that landed on Yishang's abdomen seemed to have struck leather. Night Sorrow was pushed back 5 or 6 steps. He circulated the myriad Dao Tome's energy, and the pain and discomfort from his abdomen disappeared. This was the power of the myriad Dao Tome. Night Sorrow's flesh, tendons, and ribs were all abnormally strengthened. Qi Zhonglia's hurried kick did not cause any damage to Night Sorrow. Qi Xian fell. His eyes were filled with unwillingness. He was already in the 4th rank. His future should be very exciting. How could he die here? Chen Dong and Qi Zhonglia stood next to Qi Xian's corpse. Their eyes were filled with shock. Qi Xian was the strongest among the 3 of them. But now he was killed. What shocked them was that Night Sorrow, who was kicked, seemed to be fine. Taking a deep breath, Night Sorrow charged toward Qi Zhonglia. His reincarnation spear was like a dragon piercing toward Qi Zhonglia's chest. Qi Zhonglia's body flashed. He dodged to the side of Night Sorrow. His blade slashed toward Night Sorrow's left arm. At this time, Qi Zhonglia did not dare to take Night Sorrow's attack head-on. Qi Xian was an example. Using the soaring dragon steps, Night Sorrow dodged Qi Zhonglia's blade. His reincarnation spear was wide open. He waved his hand and smashed toward Chen Dong. Even Qi Zhonglia retreated. Of course, Chen Dong did not dare to take Night Sorrow's attack head-on. He was afraid that the situation with Qi Xian would happen again. That kind of strange cold air that could freeze people was fatal. After forcing Chen Dong and Qi Zhonglia back, Night Sorrow charged towards the Scarlet Cloud sect disciples behind them and continued his massacre. When Night Sorrow rushed in again, the disciples of the Scarlet Cloud sect quickly scattered like birds and beasts. They couldn't understand Night Sorrow's brutality. At this moment, Night Sorrow, whose white robes were stained with blood, was like a god of death. Whoever stood in his way would die. Qi Zhonglia and Chen Dong chased from behind as they shouted for the sect members to retreat. There was no victory to speak of in this battle. Night Sorrow turned around and stabbed his spear towards Qi Zhonglia. At the same time, he shouted for Yu and the others to attack. Facing Night Sorrow's fierce spear, Qi Zhonglia's expression changed. He raised his sword to block. Ding! A crisp sound rang out. Qi Zhonglia's sword was knocked away by Night Sorrow. After knocking away Qi Zhonglia's sword, Night Sorrow swung his reincarnation spear towards Chen Dong, who was attacking from the side. At the same time, his left hand slapped towards Qi Zhonglia's chest. Qi Zhonglia roared. His left hand punched towards Night Sorrow's left hand. He was afraid of Night Sorrow's spear techniques, but he was not afraid of fist techniques. The moment Qi Zhonglia punched, a faint red energy vortex appeared on Night Sorrow's left hand. Seeing Qi Zhonglia punch, Night Sorrow attacked with all his strength. He used Vajra hand. Bang! A muffled sound rang out. Everything below Qi Zhonglia's left arm disappeared. There was a huge gap between him and Lei Bao. Their true energy levels were not on the same level. He also did not have Lei Bao's battle experience. Therefore, when facing Night Sorrow's Vajra hand, Lei Bao was only slightly injured. Qi Zhonglia had lost an arm. After losing Qi Zhonglia's arm, Night Sorrow decided to first deal with the threat of Chen Dong, and then kill Qi Zhonglia. Translator. Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation. When he looked at Chen Dong again, Night Sorrow was surprised. Chen Dong had stopped fighting. He turned around and ran. He actually abandoned Qi Zhonglia and ran. He also did not care about the other disciples who were being attacked by Yu and the others. He directly ran towards the forest in the distance. Love Gob Little, say Network. Night Sorrow turned around and continued to violently attack with 3 spear attacks. He killed Qi Zhonglia, who had lost an arm. Qi Zhonglia died very sullenly. In the end, he wanted to use Scarlet Cloud Needles, but he did not have the chance. Night Sorrow attacked again and again. His right hand was holding onto his sword to block, so he did not have the chance to use Scarlet Cloud Needles. After killing Qi Zhonglia, Yishang glanced at the battle situation. The Medicine Valley disciples led by Yu already had the absolute advantage. The main reason was that the Scarlet Cloud sect disciples had already lost their momentum after being killed by Yishang. At this moment, Yishang felt powerless. After the battle began, Night Sorrow attacked with all his might. He always pursued the highest damage. Although he was not injured, he was very tired. Soon, the battle was over. The Scarlet Cloud sect disciples all ran away. A crazy Night Sorrow was unbeatable to them. If Night Sorrow did not fall, then they had no chance of winning. The strongest Qi Xian and Qi Zhonglia had been killed. Chen Dong had run away. What could they who had not reached rank 4 do? After the battle was over, Yu and the others cleaned up the battlefield. Then they came to Night Sorrow and placed 2 storage rings, a pile of beast-taming crystals, and some storage belts in front of Night Sorrow. Thank you. Yu bowed. He knew that without Night Sorrow, the Scarlet Cloud sect would have slaughtered the Medicine Valley disciples. Night Sorrow raised his head. You can divide them among yourselves. Martial Uncle, are you alright? Seeing Night Sorrow's pale face, Gulin asked worriedly. I'm fine. I just used up a lot of energy. Night Sorrow waved his hand. Night Sorrow, actually I should call you junior brother. You earned these resources. We just shouted loudly and didn't do anything. You can keep them. Yu said. Yu's master was an elder of Wuwei Peak. He was from the same generation as Yu Yangyu. Since Yu joined the sect earlier than Night Sorrow, he was the senior brother. Senior brother Yu, distribute the spoils to everyone. Also, everyone should take the time to rest. This is only the Scarlet Cloud sect. We don't know if there will be other forces coming. If you feel that you can't hold on any longer, leave. The battle might have just begun, Yishan said. Yu looked at the resources at his feet and picked up a pile of storage belts. Let's divide these. Martial uncle, you must keep the rest. Night Sorrow nodded as he looked at the group of Medicine Valley disciples. Haha. If you follow Martial Uncle Yi, you'll be able to eat and drink well, Gulin said with a smile. Martial Uncle Knight, I'm sorry. Our Tianyue Peak has caused trouble for you. A Tianyue Peak disciple stepped forward. He was one of the people caught by Lei Bao. Lin Tianjue is Lin Tianjue. This has nothing to do with Tianyue Peak. You are a good disciple of Medicine Valley for staying and fighting. What's your name? Night Sorrow asked. Martial Uncle, my name is Jiang Han. Jiang Han bowed. You know what happened. When you return, explain to Peak Master Jin and Senior Brother Luo Daoyuan that Lin Tianjue was killed by Lei Bao. Even if Lei Bao didn't kill him, I wouldn't have kept him alive. Night Sorrow said. I understand. Jiang Han nodded and left. Chapter 293. Genius 1 Second. Remember Love Go divided by Xiao? We provide you with interesting novels to read. On the other side, Yu asked Gulin to report the battle to the Great Elder. Baidu search, AI Go female sign Xiao say, www.aitrexis.com. After Gulin returned, he informed Night Sorrow, the Great Elder, the Valley Master, and the others to let Night Sorrow go out. Night Sorrow didn't have time to change his clothes, so he didn't care about etiquette. He walked out of the passageway in his blood-stained battle robe. Many people gathered at the passageway. Yu Yangyu and the people from Taishan Peak were all there. Night Sorrow, are you hurt? Sikong Chiyu ran to Night Sorrow and held his hand, looking him up and down nervously. No, it's all other people's blood, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Are you really okay? Young Lei also walked to Night Sorrow and asked. Ninth Senior Sister, I'm really okay. Night Sorrow turned his body to show Yang Lei that he wasn't hurt. 13. Can you still hold on? If you can't, then retreat. There aren't many disciples from Medicine Valley who haven't returned, the Great Elder said. Not bad. You've done very well. You can choose to come back, Yu Yangyu said. There are still disciples from Medicine Valley who haven't returned. If we retreat, we'll be abandoning them. They'll be disappointed, Night Sorrow said. Yu Yangyu, the Great Elder, and the others nodded. They all knew that Night Sorrow and the others were abandoning some disciples if they retreated. Ninth Senior Sister, here are some beast-taming crystals. Take them back and distribute them to the disciples of Taishan Peak. Night Sorrow took out a handful of beast-taming crystals. There were at least 20 of them, and he gave them to Yang Lei. Okay. Yang Lei was not pretentious. She knew that Night Sorrow did not need this. Chiyu, don't worry. I'm fine. Night Sorrow looked at Sikong Chiyu, whose eyes were filled with worry. Then go. I'll wait for you here. Sikong Chiyu nodded. Night Sorrow nodded and returned to the spatial tunnel. With a core condensation cultivation base, he killed 2 severed divinity cultivators, and more than 20 late core condensation cultivators. This battle record will forever be recorded in the annals of history. Yi Xiling from Crepe Myrtle said. Her eyes were filled with regret, because Night Sorrow was not a disciple of Crepe Myrtle. Baidu search, AI Go female sign Xiao say, www.aichuexis.com. The other Peak Masters who arrived also looked at Gong Xian and Yang Lei with envy. After returning to the void space, Night Sorrow looked at the female disciples of Crepe Myrtle and rode Tianyu to find a water source to wash up. After changing into a clean robe, he went to the entrance of the spatial tunnel. The entrance of the spatial tunnel was very lively. Some people were roasting prey, some people even took out wine. Seeing Night Sorrow come back, everyone greeted him. Night Sorrow nodded and found a place to sit down. Next, there will be a month of danger. Red Cloud sect was the first to receive the news. They can gather some disciples. The other sects will receive the news later and come to find trouble with us. Plus, they might not have enough time to go back. If they don't gather enough people, they won't dare to block our path. Yu said. In other words, if we guard this place for another month and there are no problems, then there will be no problems at all? Jiang Han asked. That should be the case. Night Sorrow nodded and took the roasted meat from a female disciple of Crepe Myrtle. After eating and drinking, except for those on duty, everyone sat down to cultivate. Night Sorrow checked Qi Zhonglia and Qi Xian's storage rings and found that their collection was quite rich. There were also some new resources, spiritual herbs, and 2 red cloud needles. Qi Xian's storage ring also had a green organ. Night Sorrow could feel that this ore was not simple, but there was no such ore in the Fey encyclopedia. After tidying up his things, Yishang sat down to cultivate. Time passed slowly, and some of the disciples of Medicine Valley also returned. When they found out that Night Sorrow and the others were guarding the path and had a big battle with the Red Cloud sect, they were willing to share some of their loot, but no one took it. 5 days later, the disciples of the Thunder Rumbling sect came. It was a man in black with less than 20 people. Wait. Seeing that the disciples of Medicine Valley were about to fight, the leading man in black waved his hand. What do you want to say? Night Sorrow took 2 steps forward with the reincarnation spear. If we fight as a group, both sides will suffer. It won't be good for either side. You should be Night Sorrow. I heard that you killed Qi Xian and Qi Zhonglia from the Red Cloud sect. Let's fight one-on-one. The man in black looked at Night Sorrow and said. Sure. I want to ask, where did you get the news? Night Sorrow asked. The man in black glanced at the disciples of Medicine Valley who were full of fighting spirit and said, someone from the same sect. You also met the disciples of the Red Cloud sect. It seems like you are prepared. If you want to fight with me, then there should be a bet. Say it. Night Sorrow waved the reincarnation spear and said. He felt that the people of the Thunder Rumbling sect were overbearing, but they were very direct. Lei Bao was like that, and so was this young man in black. I heard that you got a treasure on the Lonely Peak. This is an opportunity. However, the opportunity is in your hands now. If you lose, take out half of the opportunity and I will leave. If I lose then, I have never thought about it. The man in black hesitated and said. If you lose, you can leave. In addition, if you meet the disciples of the Medicine Valley in this space, don't make it difficult for them. Night Sorrow said. Okay. My name is Lei Zheng. I won't take advantage of you. This tranquil heartstone and my Thunderbird mount are yours if you win. Also listen carefully. If I, Lei Zheng, lose in this space, if you see the disciples of the Medicine Valley, you must stay away. The young man in black, who was Lei Zheng, waved the broadsword in his hand and said. Night Sorrow waved his hand and asked the disciples of the Medicine Valley to retreat. Then he gestured to Lei Zheng. Lei Zheng leaped up and waved the broadsword in his right hand, facing Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow understood that the disciples of the Thunder Rumbling sect fought in a direct confrontation. Their weapons were also broadswords and heavy swords. Without hesitation, Night Sorrow thrust his reincarnation spear forward. At the same time, he also used the vibration force. Ding! When the weapons collided, Night Sorrow retreated 2 steps while Lei Zheng retreated 4 to 5 steps. Night Sorrow squinted his eyes and looked at Lei Zheng. He realized that Lei Zheng's true qi exerting method was different from Lei Bao's. It was a technique that was soft first and then violent. Very strong. Again. Lei Zheng glanced at Night Sorrow and attacked again. Night Sorrow used the vibration force and waved his reincarnation spear to attack. Every time he attacked, he would force Lei Ming to retreat a few steps, completely suppressing him. The 2 of them attacked each other, one advancing and one retreating. Although Lei Zheng couldn't restrain Night Sorrow's vibration force, Night Sorrow couldn't defeat Lei Zheng with the vibration force. Watch my purple thunder sword art. Lei Zhang roared. Purple energy appeared on his broadsword and slashed towards Night Sorrow's reincarnation spear. Knowing that this was Lei Zhang's ultimate move, Night Sorrow instantly activated the profound jade spirit chi hidden in his hands. Bang! When the weapons collided, Night Sorrow retreated 4 steps. His arms were numb, as if he was struck by lightning. Lei Zhang was in an even worse state. His entire body was covered in frost. Night Sorrow's bone-forging realm level 6 energy burst forth from the myriad Dao Tome. After dispelling the numbness, he used the soaring dragon steps and instantly rushed in front of Lei Zhang. Before Lei Zhang could react, the reincarnation spear was placed on his neck. I lost, Lei Ming said as he wiped the frost off his hair and face. X forever free. Read novel *. Just like Lei Bao, you are a real man. You can afford to lose, Night Sorrow said as he retreated a few steps. Chapter 294. Genius remembers love in 1 second / small? I will provide you with wonderful novels to read. Why do you say that? Night Sorrow was a little puzzled. I'm not Brother Bao's opponent. Knowing that you defeated Brother Bao, I won't come. The news is really deceiving. Lei Zhang was depressed. Ignoring the value of the tranquil heart stone, he couldn't bear to part with his Thunderbird. The Thunderbird was an intelligent flying beast at the peak of the 3rd rank. Most importantly, it had been with him for a long time. You didn't ask me. Yi Shang was speechless. This disciple of the Thunder Rumbling sect was really straightforward. Lei Zhang took out the beast-taming crystal. His eyes were full of reluctance, but he still put it beside the tranquil heart stone and took a few steps back. It's all yours. Night Sorrow stepped forward and put away the tranquil heart stone. After looking at the beast-taming crystal for a while, he threw it to Lei Zhang, whose eyes never left the crystal. I told Lei Bao that we will be friends when we meet again. You call him Brother Bao, so it's obviously not nice of me to take you as my mount. After catching the beast-taming crystal, Lei Zhang's face was full of joy. We will also be friends in the future. As long as you, Night Sorrow, come to the Thunder Clan, you will be my most distinguished guest. Okay, if you come to the Medicine Valley, don't forget to look for me. I will treat you with good wine and meat. Night Sorrow nodded. Lei Zhang cupped his hands towards Night Sorrow, and then turned around. Brothers, let's go. We can't beat them and almost suffered a double loss. Let's go take care of others. The Thunder Rumbling sect's disciples followed Lei Zhang. Some of them even cupped their hands towards Yi Shang. Damn, the Thunder Clan disciples are too cute. Lei Zhang is so handsome. He's a real man. Crepe Myrtle disciple Li Lin said. This is because we have strength. If we don't have strength, we will be bullied to death. Handsome real man? That depends on Martial Uncle Yi, Gu Lin said. But I heard that Martial Uncle Night Sorrow already has someone in his heart. Even Martial Uncle Lin Jingyi doesn't have a chance. Li Lin glanced at Night Sorrow and said. The dispute between Night Sorrow and Crepe Myrtle was no longer a secret. Everyone in Medicine Valley knew about it. Gu Lin shook his head helplessly. He could not answer this question. In the following days, the entrance of Medicine Valley was quiet. What Night Sorrow did not know was that Lei Zhang had helped him fend off a wave of enemies. When Lei Zhang and the others were some distance away from the entrance of the Medicine Valley, they met a group of disciples of the Golden Flame sect, led by Su Wang and Su Yuan, who were approaching the entrance of the Medicine Valley. With one look, Lei Zhang knew what was going on. Love Gob Little Sei Ku thinking that Night Sorrow did not want his Thunderbird, Lei Zhang decided to do Night Sorrow a favor. He directly defeated Su Wang and the others, severely injuring the disciples of the Golden Flame sect. Lei Zhang lost to Night Sorrow because his dual polarity force was restrained by Night Sorrow's vibration scripture. However, it was not a problem for him to deal with Su Wang and the others. The disciples of the Thunder Clan were also very united and had strong combat power. After a chaotic battle, Lei Zhang severely injured Su Wang and forced him to retreat. He also confiscated the resources of the disciples of the Golden Flame sect. Haha, a person should be loyal. Good intentions will be rewarded. After the brothers divide, let's continue to rob. There will be a lot of fat sheep coming to the Medicine Valley. Lei Zheng was in a particularly good mood. Brother Zheng, speaking of which, we have to thank Lei Jing. If he didn't tell us this news, we wouldn't know what happened here. A disciple of the Thunder Clan said. Bullsh *T. This time, I was almost killed by him. He knew that Brother Bao was defeated, but he still made this news. Isn't he trying to scam me? But it's also true. If he said it, Brother Bao would lose face. Let's not talk about it. Let's continue to look for fat sheep. Lei Zheng was in high spirits. The income from robbing was much better than looking for resources by himself. Baidu search AI go female sign Xiao say www.aichuxs.com. After quietly waiting at the entrance of the passage for a month without any battles, Night Sorrow, EU, and the others discussed and decided that there was no need for them to stay here any longer. They could do whatever they needed to do, because the people from the other regions wouldn't come over anymore. That way, they wouldn't have enough time to return. Many people had gone to look for resources. Night Sorrow pondered for a while before leaving the void fiendish space. He did not want to waste any more time. He did not believe that there would be any great opportunities. After all, even the space origin pearl was in his dantian. Even if there were opportunities left, they would be small opportunities. Only a few disciples of the Medicine Valley chose to go out. The others still had to look for opportunities. Sucked knowing that Night Sorrow didn't want to stay in the void fiendish space any longer, the first elder was a bit unwilling. They had survived the danger and there was no more danger, but Night Sorrow still wanted to come out. Great Elder, this depends on the individual's wishes. If 13 is unwilling, then don't force him. He also needs to prepare to advance to the spirit-severing stage. Lu Chenyan said with a smile. He was extremely satisfied with Night Sorrow's performance this time, because Night Sorrow had fought to the end for the disciples of the Medicine Valley. Night Sorrow took out the green ore he had stolen from Qi Xian and gave it to Big Elder, Yu Yangyu, and the others to identify. The higher-ups present all looked at it, but they couldn't recognize what ore it was. However, they all felt that it wasn't normal. Then Night Sorrow, Yang Lei, and Sikong Chiu left. The relationship between the three of them was not a secret in the Medicine Valley. Many people were envious of them. There was no need to talk about Sikong Chiu. She was agile and refined like a fairy. It was fate that brought Sikong Chiu and Yi Shang together. No one could be envious of them. But what about Yang Lei? She was the one that many second-generation disciples of the Medicine Valley had been thinking about. Unexpectedly, Night Sorrow also got her. This was puzzling. Great Elder, what do you think of Lin Tianjue? After Night Sorrow left, Yu Yangyu looked at Big Elder. This is the fault of Tianyue Peak's Elder Lin and Luo Daoyuan. But he is already dead, so forget it. Big Elder sighed with some disappointment. This time, Lin Tianjue really made the Medicine Valley lose face, and almost brought a disaster to the disciples of the Medicine Valley in the alternate dimension. If it wasn't for Night Sorrow's efforts to turn the tide, the Medicine Valley would have suffered heavy losses. It could even be said that there would be a generation gap. If all the outstanding disciples of the core condensation realm were killed, then the Medicine Valley would have lost a generation in the future. I won't pursue this matter. Tell Tianyue Peak's Elder Lin, Luo Daoyuan, and the others that if anyone dares to vent their anger on Night Sorrow because of Lin Tianjue, I won't be lenient. Yu Yangyu said and left. Gong Xian looked at Big Elder and Fourth Elder, then left with the people of Taishan Peak. The Valley Master's temper has become more restrained. This is the blessing of Tianyue Peak. Big Elder, you should arrange it well. If Elder Lin, Peak Master Jean, or Luo Daoyuan do anything bad, then it will be a big trouble for the Medicine Valley. At that time, even if the Valley Master doesn't say anything, the Taishan Peak won't let it go. Lu Chenyan said. Then Fourth Elder and the other elders will look after this place. I will go to Tianyue Peak. Big Elder said to the others, then got up and left. This matter was very big. Yu Yangyu showed mercy. As the Big Elder, he had to deal with it well. Otherwise, this matter would be the fuse for the outbreak of conflicts. When Big Elder arrived at Tianyue Peak, he saw Jinkin and two other elders of Tianyue Peak in the Tianyue Hall. Seeing the arrival of Big Elder, Jean Can and the others all got up and saluted, then let Big Elder sit in the main seat. As the Big Elder, I have something to deal with. Invite Elder Lin and Luo Daoyuan here. Big Elder sat down and said while tapping his crutch on the ground. Chapter 295. Genius 1 second. Remember love go/small? Sure, Net provides you with wonderful novels to read. G hashtag see the only version hashtag his, x him. All pirated. What do you mean? Don't you know your mistake? The Great Elder tapped the ground with his walking stick. Suddenly, a spider web appeared on the hard stone floor of the Tianhua Hall. It was obvious that the Great Elder was angry. Great Elder, please don't misunderstand. Elder Lin felt guilty towards the sect, and went to the cliff of reflection to reflect. Luo Daoyuan also wanted to go there, but I didn't agree because there were still many things to deal with in the Tianhua Peak. Jean Can quickly explained. Let's not talk about Elder Lin. It's good that Luo Daoyuan has such thoughts. It shows that he knows his mistake, so I won't pursue it. If the Tianhua Peak makes things difficult for Night Sorrow because of Lin Tianjue, you know the consequences. At that time, no one will be able to stop the Valley Master's anger. The Great Elder said. Great Elder, don't worry. Everyone knows that Lin Tianjue deserved to die. No one blamed Night Sorrow. In fact, we are grateful that he saved the other Tianhua Peak disciples. Jean Can bowed. It's good that you know. I'm just reminding you. The Great Elder stood up and left the Tianhua Hall. He felt a little better after seeing the Tianhua Peak's attitude. Night Sorrow, Yang Lei, and Sikong Chuyu returned to the Bamboo Forest Peak. Sikong Chuyu brewed a pot of tea after returning to the Bamboo Forest Peak. You must be tired out during this period of time. No, I just fought a few battles. However, I also gained a lot. Some problems can also be solved. Night Sorrow said. He was talking about the Origin Stone. Night Sorrow then took out his gains and organized them. Seeing Night Sorrow take out several storage rings, Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu were shocked. They knew that this was the result of Night Sorrow's robbery. Ninth senior sister, who else doesn't have a storage ring? Night Sorrow asked. Eldest senior brother, second senior brother, and third senior brother have it. Sixth senior sister and I also have it. The others don't have it, Yang Lei said. Night Sorrow took out the two he had stolen from Lone Peak, the two he had taken from Qi Xian and Qi Zhonglia, and Su Qinbai's storage ring. Of course, he took out all his resources. Here are 5 storage rings. I'll send them to the other senior brothers later, Night Sorrow said. You rascal, keep one for yourself. Otherwise, you won't have enough in case of an emergency, Yang Lei said. I still have more. Night Sorrow smiled. He had Feng Chen's storage ring and Lu Shan's. Both of their storage rings had a lot of space, much more than the storage rings they had robbed. Night Sorrow organized the spirit herbs, spirit medicines, and ores. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu were dazzled. There were too many level 4 and level 5 spirit herbs. There were even level 6 spirit herbs. There were also many rare ores. 13. You're rich this time. Yang Lei was so excited that her face turned red. Ninth senior sister, these aren't my biggest gains. The 3 of us are going to be a family in the future. Let me show you the real gains. Night Sorrow took out the top-grade spirit stones and high-grade spirit stones. The bamboo building's living room was filled with the light of crystals. There were hundreds of top-grade spirit stones and thousands of high-grade spirit stones. How is this possible? Yang Lei was a little confused. Even the super forces might not have so many in stock. Night Sorrow, you have too much capital. Sikong Chuyu was also astonished when he saw the crystals. You two quickly keep some of them. Both of you have advanced to the 5th grade. You can use high-grade spirit stones to cultivate. Night Sorrow urged Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu. All right. Will be yours sooner or later. Just take it as a betrothal gift. Yang Lei blushed and took 100 high-grade spirit stones. Sikong Chuyu also felt a little embarrassed after hearing Yang Lei's words. However, he also took 100 high-grade spirit stones. She had advanced to the 5th grade a month ago, and was currently the youngest Void Inquiry stage cultivator in this area. Night Sorrow kept the remaining spirit stones into his storage ring. Come, let's admire some good stuff. I'll share some with you. Night Sorrow took out the spiritual spring liquid and opened the jar. This is much denser than the spiritual liquid in the medicinal cauldron. He actually used a wine jar to store it. Yang Lei was a little speechless. Night Sorrow's actions had subverted her beliefs. Store some for each of you. Tomorrow, give some to senior brothers and sisters too. Night Sorrow said. You have to keep enough for yourself. Just give some to each of you. Yang Lei was thinking for Night Sorrow's sake. She also helped Night Sorrow to store more than 10 small bottles of origin spiritual liquid. After that, Night Sorrow gave Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu 2 bottles each. Ninth senior sister, Chuyu, if you need any spirit stones or spiritual liquid in the future, just call me. Night Sorrow filled a few small bottles of origin spiritual liquid as backup. Only then did he keep the remaining half of the jar. He still had another full jar. We won't stand on ceremony with you. When we have time, we'll get a jade jar to store it. Yang Lei said. I have something else to ask you. Do you know what attributes there are in heaven and earth? Night Sorrow asked. Earth, water, wind, fire, lightning, light, and darkness. These are the 7 most common attributes. The rare and high-grade attributes are life, death, space, and time. The top-grade attributes are destruction, void, and so on. Of course, there is a possibility for the attributes to evolve. The earth attribute can evolve into gravity and space. If it continues to evolve, it will become the space attribute. The water attribute can evolve into the life attribute, while the darkness attribute can evolve into the death attribute. These are all recorded in the ancient books. Sikong Chuyu said. I obtained an origin stone this time. Ninth senior sister doesn't have one that matches your attribute. Chuyu has one that matches your attribute, but I can't give it to you for the time being. I promised someone that I would lend it to them for a period of time. Night Sorrow said. What did you say? You obtained an origin stone? Sikong Chuyu wasn't the only one who stood up. Yang Lei was also excited. Sit down. Sit down. Night Sorrow pushed Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu into chairs. Then he took out the fire and water attribute origin stones. When he opened the jade box, a rich energy fluctuation was produced. Sikong Chuyu reached out and closed the box. Night Sorrow, this is a great opportunity, but it's also a disaster. If this were to spread, it would cause a chaotic war in the 9 regions. This is because source stones are the best medium for venerables to break through to the saint realm. I know. I will only tell the 2 of you. Night Sorrow said. Who do you want to lend the origin stone to? Sikong Chuyu looked at Night Sorrow and asked. First of all, it is a senior from the Ice Snow Mountain in the Far East Icefield. I promised her. She said that she would only lend it to me. In addition, she is willing to give me a spirit weapon as the price. I don't care about the spirit weapon, but since I promised her, I will do my best. Night Sorrow said. A peerless expert from a forbidden land. It seems that the rumors are not true. Such a person wouldn't kill for the treasure. Sikong Chuyu nodded. Chapter 296. Genius remembers love in 1 second/small? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. That shouldn't be a problem either. Sikong Chuyu said to Yishan. Let's go, said Sikong Chuyu to Yishan. Let's not talk about the fire-type origin stone for now. There is another piece. Take a look at its attribute. Night Sorrow put away the fire-type origin stone. He then brought out the killing energy origin bead. When the box was opened, a dense baleful aura and blood-red energy appeared in the bamboo building. After Sikong Chuyu and Yang Lei felt it, Sikong Chuyu reached out and closed the box. This is beyond the concept of origin stones. Could it be spatial origin? Sikong Chuyu was a little surprised as he looked at Night Sorrow in disbelief. Most are new chapter E above. That's right. It's one of the space origins, but I don't know what attribute it is, Night Sorrow said. There is a trace of destructive aura mixed with a very strong baleful aura. Could it be that you have entered a space of destruction? Sikong Chuyu said with some uncertainty. She had read a lot of classics and was better than Yang Lei in this aspect. It's not the destruction space. In fact, this isn't the real space origin. It's just a subsidiary. The real space origin is with me. Night Sorrow smiled bitterly and pointed at his stomach. What do you mean? Yang Lei asked. Night Sorrow then told him what happened after he went to Lonely Peak. You're taking too much risk. Fortunately, such supreme treasures have their own spirituality. If you are not the chosen one, you will not be able to obtain the space origin. A single energy attack from the space origin can destroy you, the Sikong Chuyu said. Chuyu, do you mean that the void space origin bead will not harm 13? Yang Lei asked worriedly. If you want to hurt him, you should have blown up Night Sorrow back then. Entering his body is also a form of recognition, Sikong Chuyu said. Then it's fine. However, I don't feel that its existence is of any help to me, Night Sorrow said. You currently don't have the ability to recognize a master. If you can, then you will be the master of that space, the master of that space. On the day you truly control the space origin bead, the entire space will be your private territory. Sikong Chuyu threw out words that shocked Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu. Is it that serious? Yang Lei couldn't believe her ears. Of course. So don't mention this matter in the future. Just pretend that it never happened. Night Sorrow. The treasures on you now are enough for the experts of the 9 zones to kill you hundreds of times. Sikong Chuyu said. Then it's settled. 13. Don't tell anyone about the origin bead and origin stone. Don't even tell Master and the Great Elder. After all, they are still far away from the Sage Realm. Yang Lei made the decision for Night Sorrow. All right. I'll listen to everything you say. Night Sorrow nodded. After packing up, the 3 of them slowly drank tea. 13, you scared me to death. I can't even calm down now, Yang Lei said as she patted her chest. Indeed, Night Sorrow, the things you got this time are truly frightening. My heart is also thumping. Love go little say, Sikong Chuyu said. It's a water origin stone. I'll give it to Chuyu after I finish using it. 9th senior sister, I'm sorry about this, Night Sorrow said apologetically. What are you saying, you bastard? Aren't we family? Yang Lei looked at Night Sorrow grumpily. After eating, the 3 of them rested. Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu didn't let Night Sorrow continue cultivating. They watched Night Sorrow sleep. The next day, Emo Chun and Chu Lingfei came to call Night Sorrow because the senior brothers and sisters were going to have a gathering. Night Sorrow, Chu Lingfei followed Emo Chun to the bamboo grove. Always Bamboo Grove was the gathering place for Yu Yangyu's disciples on Taishan Peak. This time everyone was present. Aoi also took out the green carrot leopard bone wine. After drinking the wine, Night Sorrow took out the gifts he had prepared for his senior brothers and sisters. Each of them received a bottle of spiritual liquid of origin and 10 top-grade spirit stones. 13, you're rich, Emo Chun said as he opened the bottle of spiritual liquid of origin. I forgot about Sister Lingfei's share. 10 top-grade spirit stones. 2nd senior brother, 8th senior brother, and sister-in-law all have a share. Night Sorrow pushed the 10 top-grade spirit stones in front of Chu Lingfei. Then he took out 20 top-grade spirit stones and handed them to Wu Qi and Shi Tianlin. Other than the newly married Emo Chin, only Wu Qi and Shi Tianlin were married among Yu Yangyu's disciples. However, their wives didn't attend the gathering. After Emo Chun got married, he and Chu Lingfei lived together, so he came to the gathering. 9th junior sister, you have to keep an eye on 13. How many resources do you have to squander like this? Gong Xian looked at Yang Lei and said, this was decided by the 3 of us. Yang Lei said with a smile. As for the other things, Night Sorrow didn't tell everyone. Yang Lei also didn't let Night Sorrow talk about the elixirs. Although Aoi was studying alchemy, it wasn't appropriate to give it to Aoi. After the gathering, Night Sorrow said goodbye to Yang Lei and Sikong Chuyu, and went to Danding Cliff to cultivate. He was now at the middle stage of the 9th level of the core condensation realm. He wanted to raise his cultivation to the peak of the core condensation realm, and then stabilize his cultivation to prepare for entering the spirit severing realm. The higher the cultivation level, the more energy was needed to raise the cultivation level. This was also the reason why it was difficult for high-level cultivators to raise their cultivation level. Night Sorrow rushed to 5,800 meters before he felt that the pressure was suitable for him. He could still continue, but he didn't think it was necessary. This place was very suitable for cultivating. Time slipped away bit by bit. Night Sorrow's cultivation level rapidly increased. He didn't know that the Eastern Profound Domain now knew the name Night Sorrow. As the people who entered the void fiendish space left, Night Sorrow's deeds and achievements spread. The Scarlet Cloud sect was the most infuriated because too many of their disciples had died at Yi Shang's hands. Qi Xian and Qi Zhonglia were direct disciples of the Scarlet Cloud sect. They had great potential and were worth cultivating. However, they were killed by Night Sorrow. In addition, Night Sorrow also killed more than 20 disciples at the peak of the core condensation realm. They were all good seedlings of this generation of the Scarlet Cloud sect. Night Sorrow's deeds were not only spread to the Scarlet Cloud sect, but also to the Holy Light Temple and the Southern Dipper sect. Although they didn't have any contact with Night Sorrow, they had fought with the people of the Scarlet Cloud sect and the Thunder Rumbling sect. Some of them even became friends. Naturally, they knew this news. The 7 superpowers of the Eastern Profound Domain also knew that the Medicine Valley of the Golden Flame sect was the biggest winner in the opening of the alternate space. A young man named Night Sorrow was the biggest winner. At the same time, they also knew about Night Sorrow's greatness. He fought against 3 severed Divinity stage and dozens of core condensation realm cultivators alone. He killed 2 severed Divinity stage cultivators and more than 20 peak core condensation realm cultivators. No one could surpass this record. On the top floor of the Tianji Tower in the Eastern Profound City, several people sat together and chatted. Supervisor Lan, Night Sorrow is not bad, right? He challenged dozens of people alone, killed 2 severed Divinity stage cultivators, killed 1, and more than 20 core condensation realm cultivators. Isn't he worthy of the 2 stars? Lei Hua said with a smile. Chapter 297. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. What if he enters the Divinity severing stage? Should we report it to the higher-ups directly? Yin Shui asked. If he can enter the Divinity severing stage in 2 years, report it to the higher-ups. Such a talent can no longer be measured by ordinary standards. Focus on protecting him. This is an opportunity for your Eastern Profound Domain branch to gain face, Lan Yuxuan said. Okay, this guy should have no problem entering the Divinity severing stage in 2 years, Lei Hua said. He had confidence in Night Sorrow. In addition, I'm going to the Medicine Valley, Lan Yuxuan said. Then I'll accompany you there, Yin Shui said. Okay, if there are some things that have good results, I need your cooperation. Lan Yuxuan nodded. Night Sorrow stayed at Danding Cliff and cultivated for more than 20 days. He raised his cultivation to the peak of the core formation stage before leaving Danding Cliff and returning to the bamboo forest peak. Yi Shang's cultivation was already saturated. What he needed now was to stabilize his cultivation and increase the cultivation of the Myriad Tao Treasured Tome. Currently, he still had a lot of dragon bone forging pills, enough for him to reach the 4th stage of the Myriad Tao Treasured Tome, the Consolidation Realm. Night Sorrow's days were very free and easy. His relationship with Yang Lei and Sikong Chiyu was also warming up. Love Gom Little Say Ku Forever. Long time % free to read 6Y novels. Disciples of the Medicine Valley often came to drink with Night Sorrow. In the past, it was only the Yuan roll. Now both the Yuan roll and the Elixir roll came. Night Sorrow didn't look down on anyone just because his cultivation was high. He thought that people who hit it off were friends. Night Sorrow took time to visit Qinzhen. He left Tiger Eagle in Qinzhen and left his remaining medicinal cauldron spiritual liquid to Qinzhen. Qinzhen also worked hard. His cultivation had reached the peak of the 8th level of the gathering element, and he had entered the top 20 of the Yuan roll. Nothing much happened. Night Sorrow, Yang Lei, and Sikong Chiyu returned to Danding City. He did not go to Tianji Tower. If Tianji Tower hadn't asked, Night Sorrow wouldn't have lent the Water Origin Stone to Tianji Tower. However, things were different from what he thought. On the third day after Night Sorrow returned to the Dragon Spring courtyard, Enforcer Dong came to the Dragon Spring courtyard and said that someone wanted to see him. Night Sorrow immediately knew what was going on. It was either Lan Yuxuan or Yin Shui. Night Sorrow couldn't refuse such a meeting, so he directly followed Enforcer Dong to Tianji Tower. In the room on the top floor of Tianji Tower, Night Sorrow saw Lan Yuxuan wearing a silver mask and Yin Shui taking off her mask. "Sit down. Let's have a chat," Lan Yuxuan said. Yi Shang nodded and sat down opposite the two of them. At the peak of the core condensation stage, your body's qi and blood are at the peak. If you can continue to improve, it won't take long for you to reach the level of essence qi smoke. In the 9 regions, there are people who cultivate their body, but their true qi attainment is not high. Only those who are over 100 years old can reach the level of essence qi smoke, and it's very rare. Yin Shui said, "Thank you for your praise, Chief Enforcer. This is also the reason why Tianji Tower is cultivating me," Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow casually chatted with Yin Shui, not talking about the alternate dimension. After half a quarter of an hour, Yin Shui looked at Lan Yuxuan helplessly. Because they didn't mention it, Night Sorrow didn't want to talk about it. Lan Yuxuan coughed twice. "You have a good harvest in the alternate dimension, right?" "It's not bad. It's not easy to snatch food from the tiger's mouth and fight with the Thunder Rumbling sect and Red Cloud sect," Night Sorrow said with a smile. "What about the Heaven's Mandate Stone?" Lan Yuxuan asked. She could see that Night Sorrow was very calm. If she didn't mention it, Night Sorrow wouldn't mention it. "Well, since the supervisor mentioned it, then let's talk about it." Night Sorrow didn't avoid the question since Lan Yuxuan mentioned it. "It seems that you really got it. Tianji Tower is willing to exchange it for anything you want." Lan Yuxuan was extremely shocked. She just wanted to give it a try. She didn't expect Night Sorrow to really have it. "The Heaven's Mandate Stone is priceless. I won't exchange it." Night Sorrow directly refused Lan Yuxuan's statement. Night Sorrow wanted to lend the Water Attribute Stone to Wu Lingfei. In the end, the Water Attribute Stone would belong to Sikong Chiyu. "You're right. The Heaven's Mandate Stone is priceless. If you borrow it for half a year, you'll get a spirit tool," Lan Yuxuan said. "I'll tell you what I want first. If you can accept it, then we can talk. I've promised someone to borrow the Water Attribute Stone first. She can borrow it without any harm. After that, we can carry out the transaction," Night Sorrow said. "No, absolutely not. Do you know the value of the Heaven's Mandate Stone? It's priceless. Even if Tianji Tower doesn't lend it to you, you can't lend it to others. It's a disaster." Lan Yuxuan slammed the table and said, "But I've promised her. I can't go back on my words," Night Sorrow said. At the same time, he knew that Lan Yuxuan was doing it for his own good. He also showed the generosity of Tianji Tower. "Night Sorrow, tell us what's going on first. Our Tianji Tower will only protect the core members. We don't have any malicious intentions." Yin Shui knew that the problem was serious. Only by understanding the whole story and the root of the problem could they solve it. Night Sorrow didn't hide anything and told her about the eastern snow mountain in the far east icefield. "First of all, I've promised her. Also, I'm from the eastern Xian domain. I have to think for the eastern Xian domain. After all, she's one of the top fighters in the eastern Xian domain." "I see. I understand. I won't object," Lan Yuxuan said. "Thank you for your help. After this matter is resolved, you can take the Water Attribute Stone for half a year. As for the reward, although I want it, I'm also a member of Tianji Tower. I should do something for the Tianji Tower," Night Sorrow said. He felt that he owed Tianji Tower, so he didn't want to ask for anything. "You can keep the Water Attribute Stone. Tianji Tower doesn't need it urgently. How about this? Tianji Tower will owe you a request no higher than a spirit-grade stone. When you need the Destiny Stone, Tianji Tower will lend it to you for half a year." Lan Yuxuan made her decision. "I'll keep it. Aren't you afraid that I'll be killed and the Destiny Stone stolen?" Night Sorrow couldn't understand Tianji Tower's way of doing things. "Haha, I'm not worried. Tianji Tower won't do anything to its own people. However, if someone kills you, we'll avenge you. Once we kill them, we'll get the Destiny Stone back. There's no need to pay any price. Lan Yuxuan's voice carried a hint of laughter. Lan Yuxuan's words stunned Night Sorrow. This idea? This method? Simple and crude. But don't worry. You're a seedling that Tianji Tower has focused on nurturing. They won't let anyone touch you easily. Lan Yuxuan seemed to have guessed Night Sorrow's thoughts. I'd better hurry up and enter rank 4. Then, I'll find a place where there's no one and become a patrol. Night Sorrow said with some hesitation. That's fine. However, you don't have to worry about Tianji Tower's rule of having a patrol every 5 years. You can follow your own path. Your treatment won't change. Your status will exceed that of a patrol, Lan Yuxuan said. Chapter 298. Genius 1 second. Remember love divided by go divided by shall? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. That's right. If you perform well, Tianji Tower will take special care of you. You don't have to serve as a mandatory patrol every 5 years, but you have the right to do so. Love divided by go divided by shall say www.aichux.com, Lan Yuxuan said. Then Night Sorrow is here. Thank you for your care. Night Sorrow cupped his hands at Lan Yuxuan and Yin Shui. Haha. I want to thank you. You have made our Eastern Xian region's Celestial Peak Imperial Tower proud in front of the headquarters, Yin Shui said with a smile. You're too polite, Lord Protector. Night Sorrow bowed again. If you need anything, just tell us. Tianji Tower won't be stingy if we can help you. Love go shoup say, Lan Yuxuan said. Thank you again, lords, but I don't need it. Night Sorrow shook his head. He really didn't need anything. He had resources, but spiritual weapons weren't something that could be given out just because he needed them. Besides, he firmly believed that a man without desires would be strong. After chatting with Lan Yuxuan and Yin Shui for a while, Night Sorrow left. The discussion was quite pleasant. After watching Night Sorrow leave, Lan Yuxuan returned to her seat. This kind of person is the most difficult to control, and also the most terrifying. A man without desires would be strong, but fortunately, he has a grateful heart and has his own persistence. I especially appreciate what he said. As a person of Eastern Xian region, he should do his best for Eastern Xian region. I believe that in the future, he will also say that he is a person of Tianji Tower, and will do his best for Tianji Tower, Yin Shui said. Yes, in the face of the pressure from the two of us, he can still persevere. It's very rare. Amazing, Lan Yuxuan said with some emotion. That's it. The supervisor is relieved, Yin Shui said. Chief Protector Silver Snow, I will return to the headquarters directly. Night Sorrow will definitely pass the 3-star assessment. In the future, he will be treated as a 3-star. We can't let other forces carry out the dragon slaying plan. The Source Stone is important to Tianji Tower, but he is even more important. Our Tianji Tower is based on people, Lan Yuxuan said. I understand. Yin Shui nodded. Soon after, Lan Yuxuan left. She had come to the Eastern Xian region to examine Night Sorrow's qualifications, and also to deal with the matter of the Water Origin Stone. Now she had to return. Night Sorrow returned to the Dragon Spring courtyard. How was it? Sikong Chiyu asked when he saw Night Sorrow return. There were no problems. It went very smoothly. They didn't force me to do anything, Night Sorrow said. He admired Tianji Tower's style. That's good. Sikong Chiyu nodded. After hearing Night Sorrow's answer, she and Yang Lei were relieved. I plan to go to the Far East Icefield to fulfill my promise. Night Sorrow said his decision. Let me accompany you to the Far East Icefield. Yang Lei said. No need. It will take a longer time this time. After all, I'm borrowing it. I have to wait for it to be used back. Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. It will take a long time. You can't go for the time being. Sikong Chiyu pondered for a moment and said. Why? Night Sorrow asked puzzledly. Because in the Tianji Tower Celestial Assessment, you have to prove your ability in the shortest time possible, and enter the Severed Spirit stage as soon as possible. That way, your celestial assessment level will increase. You will be in the Far East icefield for at least half a year. Even if you break through to the severed spirit stage as soon as you enter, your qualifications will be delayed and reduced. Sikong Chiyu said. In addition, your strength has increased. It will be safer in the Far East icefield. Yang Lei agreed with Sikong Chiyu's proposal. I'll listen to you. I'll go to Danding Cliff to consolidate my cultivation. If there's a suitable opportunity, I'll break through. Night Sorrow said. Okay, but you have to be confident before you break through. Don't be like your 11th senior brother, who pursues the peak of the core condensation stage. In fact, when he entered the core condensation stage, a flaw appeared in his core pearl, so it took him a long time to consolidate it. Yang Lei said. I know. Then I'll go to Danding Cliff in the afternoon. Night Sorrow said. After staying with Sikong Chiyu and Yang Lei for a while, Night Sorrow rode the Tianyu and left. After arriving at Danding Peak and greeting Elder Su, Night Sorrow began to climb the cliff under Elder Su's surprised gaze. Soon, Night Sorrow climbed to a height of 5,800 meters. After recovering, Night Sorrow rushed to 5,900 meters. After entering the peak of the core condensation stage and the 6th level of the Myriad Tao Tome, Night Sorrow's strength increased greatly. At 5,900 meters, Night Sorrow's energy had just been depleted. Staying at an altitude of 5,900 meters, Night Sorrow began to recover his cultivation. New fastest up $2.3 at this time, other people came to Danding Cliff to cultivate. When they saw Night Sorrow cultivating at 5,900 meters, they were shocked. Night Sorrow had already surpassed the record by 500 meters. This was simply unimaginable. Night Sorrow stayed on the 5,900-meter platform and did not move. After continuously consolidating his cultivation for half a month, Night Sorrow felt that it was really difficult to improve. Looking at the 6,000-meter platform, he got up and continued to climb. This time, Night Sorrow was under a lot of pressure because the last 100 meters of every stage was the most stressful. When there were only 20 meters left, Night Sorrow's true energy and the myriad Tao scriptures' energy were depleted. He relied on his own body to continue climbing. When there were only 10 meters left, he used the profound Jade's spiritual energy to rush to the 6,000-meter tall platform. Recovering his cultivation on the 6,000-meter platform, Night Sorrow planned to cultivate here and break through here. Night Sorrow felt that breaking through would be very difficult, but he already had the strength to break through. There was no point in stubbornly holding on. After cultivating for half a day, the sky darkened. Night Sorrow stood up and looked at Danding Cliff. He drank a jar of wine and made a decision. Night Sorrow remembered Yu Yangyu's words. Walk your own path and don't care about what others say, because everyone's path is different. If you feel that it's suitable, then break through. If others stay at this stage, what does it have to do with you? Core condensation stage. To enter the spirit severing stage, one had to compress all the qi in the dantian into the dan bead, and strengthen the dan bead a second time. If not, then it would be a failure, and cause the dan bead to crack. After Night Sorrow stabilized his qi, he began to compress his qi into the dan bead. At this time, it depended on the sturdiness of the foundation and the density of the qi. If the foundation was weak and the cultivation was forcefully increased by eating pills, then the control of the qi in the dantian would be poor. It would be difficult to compress the qi into the dan bead. Similarly, if the density of the qi was not enough and was very weak, then the space in the dan bead would not be able to contain the weak qi. If one could not compress all the qi, then it would still end in failure. Chapter 299. A Genius Remembers Love in 1 Second? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Following the compression, the true qi in Night Sorrow's dantian became less and less, and the dantian became more and more crystal clear. Night Sorrow did not dare to go too far, for fear of damaging the pill. After a true qi cultivator enters the core condensation stage, the core is the foundation. Once there is a problem with the core, it will lead to the destruction of the foundation. At the crucial moment, Night Sorrow was very steady. He carefully compressed the true qi in his dantian into the dan bead. The true qi that entered the dan bead directly solidified and became a part of the dan bead. This was also a slow process. One night passed, and Night Sorrow was still trying to break through. This was his miscalculation. He had thought that he would be able to break through in a few hours, but in reality, it was still too slow. As the sun rose, more people arrived at Danding Peak. There were also some who reached the 6,000-meter platform. Those who were able to reach the 6 kilometers platform were all late fourth-order cultivators. The ones who came were Crate Myrtle's Tang Qianqian and Nining Peak's Chuling Xiao. They also wanted to cultivate. When they saw Night Sorrow sitting cross-legged on the platform, they looked at each other and knew what was going on. The two of them stood on the 6,000-meter platform to guard Night Sorrow. Time slipped away little by little. In the afternoon, Night Sorrow compressed the last trace of true qi in his dantian into his dan bead. With the disappearance of the last trace of true qi, Night Sorrow's aura changed from core condensation to severed soul stage. Love go little say exhaling a mouthful of turbid air, Night Sorrow opened his eyes. Seeing Tang Qianqian and Chuling Xiao, Night Sorrow froze for a moment before understanding what was going on. He quickly stood up and said, "Many thanks Senior Brother Chu and Senior Sister Tang for helping Night Sorrow." "You're welcome. You're too rash." Tang Qianqian reprimanded Night Sorrow. "Night Sorrow is in a good mood right now, so don't be discouraged. Focus on stabilizing your cultivation." Chuling Xiao nodded to Night Sorrow and continued climbing. Tang Qianqian smiled at Night Sorrow and continued. 6 kilometers was not her limit. Night Sorrow's cultivation had just advanced and was not suitable for high-intensity cultivation. He did not continue to climb up. Instead, he returned to the 5,900-meter position to stabilize his cultivation. After staying at 5,900 meters for 2 days, he felt that his cultivation had stabilized. Night Sorrow released Tianyu, then flashed to Tianyu's back and landed on the ground. "You rascal, this is a heaven-defying rhythm. I have nothing else to say to you. You're always on tenterhooks." Elder Su's eyes were filled with joy and helplessness. He had always emphasized that Night Sorrow should strive for stability, but Night Sorrow's cultivation was soaring. "Thank you for your concern, Elder. I might not be coming back for a while." Night Sorrow bowed to Elder Su and climbed onto Tianyu's back, heading straight for Danding Peak. After his last breakthrough, Night Sorrow did not visit Yu Yangyu. This time, he was going to visit him before heading to the Far East Icefield. Night Sorrow did not intend to tell Yu Yangyu about going to the Far East Icefield. He did not want Yu Yangyu to worry. In the Danding Hall, Night Sorrow saw Yu Yangyu the Great Elder and a few other elders. The matter of the alternate dimension was now a hot topic. Everyone knew that the Medicine Valley had benefited greatly. The Scarlet Cloud sect had even issued a kill order for Night Sorrow. Therefore, the higher-ups of the Medicine Valley were discussing this issue. Seeing Yishang enter, and then looking at his cultivation, everyone was shocked. The Grand Elder even stood up. "Disciple greets Master and Elders." Night Sorrow bowed and said, "Forever free our read T novel K, Spirit Severing Stage. What's wrong with you?" Qian Wu's eyes were full of surprise. Love Gob Little say network following that. The other elders also began to discuss. Some praised Yishang, while others reprimanded him. Those who reprimanded him were those who felt that Yishang was too reckless. 13. Why did you come to see Master? Yu Yangyu didn't care about the other elders' discussion. He looked at Night Sorrow and asked. His eyes were full of praise because he could see that Night Sorrow's cultivation was very smooth. There was no problem with his foundation being unstable. Disciple has broken through. I came to report to Master. In addition, Disciple wants to go out and have a look. Night Sorrow said. No, you can't go out now. Before Yu Yangyu could speak, Qianwu stared and said. Tell me your reason. Yu Yangyu looked at Night Sorrow and asked. I just want to go out and have a look, increase my field of vision, and practice my combat ability. Night Sorrow said. Okay, safety first. Don't cause trouble, and don't be afraid of trouble. Yu Yangyu nodded. Yu Yangyu nodded, and the other elders didn't say anything. Master, this is Disciple's filial piety. Master, please take care of yourself. Night Sorrow stepped forward and handed a bottle of spiritual liquid of origin to Yu Yangyu with both hands. Then he cupped his hands at the other elders and left the alchemy cauldron hall. Seeing Night Sorrow leave with Tianyu, Qianwu was a little anxious. Valley Master, how can you let him go out? The Scarlet Cloud sect has already issued a kill order. It's fine. I won't hide it from you elders. 13 has a certain status in Tianji Tower. A kill order? It won't be long before the Scarlet Cloud sect takes it back. As for a same-level battle, it's a training for him. Yu Yangyu said. Qianwu and the others didn't say anything because Yu Yangyu's words made sense. Yu Yangyu didn't look at what was in the jade bottle and directly explained the current situation. The Medicine Valley needed stability, but no one could be arrogant in the Medicine Valley. As long as someone came, they would be killed. When Night Sorrow returned to Alchemy City, he went directly to Tianji Tower to show off his cultivation. This was a helpless choice, but the reality required him to do so. Seeing that Night Sorrow had entered the Severed Soul stage, Enforcer Dong was very surprised. He didn't expect Night Sorrow to cultivate so quickly. The first time he saw Night Sorrow was 1.5 years ago. At that time, Night Sorrow was a little guy at stage 1 Qi refinement. But now? Yi Shiwen was already at the Severed Soul stage, the same cultivation level as him. This was unacceptable. After Night Sorrow left, Enforcer Dong hurriedly wrote a letter. He had to inform the headquarters of such an important matter as soon as possible. He knew that this news would attract the attention of the headquarters. When Night Sorrow returned to the Longquan courtyard, Yang Lei and Sikong Chiyu were very happy and personally prepared food for Night Sorrow. This was a big event worth celebrating. In addition, they also knew that Night Sorrow might set off later. After stabilizing his cultivation level in the Longquan courtyard for 2 days, Night Sorrow set off. He had to go to the Eastern Icefield. In addition, he was also working hard on the cultivation resources for the consolidation realm of the Myriad Dao Tome. A person without foresight was bound to have immediate worries. Although he hadn't yet entered the 7th level of bone forging, he still needed to prepare early. While Night Sorrow and the others were celebrating, an uninvited guest came to the headquarters of the Red Cloud sect, Sea Heart Island. The uninvited guest went directly to the lonely mountain behind the island. Not long after the masked man in black arrived, 2 white-haired old men appeared. Who are you? Chapter 300. Genius 1 second. Remember Love Go/Little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. You came to our Scarlet Cloud sect just to say this? Then you've come to the wrong place. One of the elders stepped forward and said, whether I've come to the wrong place or not is not up to you two to decide. The black-clothed man's aura changed as he threw a punch at a stone mountain in the distance. F+ forever square root exempt from MFN. Look at little square root speak with a punch. The stone mountain shattered and debris flew everywhere. Do you think you can be so arrogant just because you're in the venerable realm? If I hear any more killing orders, I'll kill the 2 of you first, and then raise your Scarlet Cloud sect to the ground. Try me if you're not convinced. The black-clothed man snorted coldly, and then disappeared with a sway. The 2 white-haired elders looked at the raised stone mountain, and did not speak for a long time. Then the taller elder sighed. Even if we join forces, we're still no match for him. The sect's spiritual weapon is not necessarily useful. It's impossible that he doesn't have a spiritual weapon. Martial uncle. Why would such an expert care about a killing order? Did the sect offend someone we shouldn't have? The shorter elder asked. It should be. Tell the sect master to cancel the killing order. Some people can't be offended, or it'll be a disaster. This matter might be related to Tianji Tower, or Dongxian City. We know all the venerables of the other forces, but there's no such person. The taller elder shook his head helplessly. The Scarlet Cloud sect was very strong, but if they offended a colossus like Tianji Tower, they would be destroyed. The shorter elder nodded. He couldn't take the black-clothed man's attack just now. After Night Sorrow finished celebrating, he left and set off for the Far East Icefield. During the day, Night Sorrow sat on Tianyu's back and meditated. At night, he cultivated in the animal skin shack. When he was halfway there, Night Sorrow finished strengthening the dragon bone on his back and the ribs on both sides. He also successfully strengthened his bone marrow and entered the 7th level of the bone forging realm. He advanced every day, but Night Sorrow's cultivation didn't fall behind at all. With the assistance of the Flood Dragon Bone Forging Pill and the Origin Spiritual Liquid, his cultivation increased very quickly. Although it wasn't as fast as the last time when he and Yang Lei used their dual mounts, Night Sorrow's speed wasn't slow either. Tianyu's cultivation had improved a lot since that time. When Tianyu returned from the Void Fiendish space, he had entered the 3rd rank, 9th rank. His speed had far surpassed other flying demonic beasts. After 1.5 months, Night Sorrow arrived at the Eastern Icefield. Looking at the unfamiliar yet somewhat familiar Eastern Icefield, Night Sorrow had Tianyu continue flying. Love Gobe Little, say, 3 days later, Night Sorrow arrived at the Eastern Snow Mountain. Looking at the sky, Night Sorrow didn't continue climbing. Instead, he set up a shack and stayed there. He planned to continue climbing the mountain the next day. After feeding Tianyu a beast origin pill, Night Sorrow opened a jar of wine to drink. Suddenly, a figure appeared. It was Wu Lingfei, wearing a pure white dress and a white veil. She held a white long sword in her hand. Senior. Night Sorrow stood up and cupped his hands in greeting. Your cultivation has increased very quickly. But what are you doing here? If this place had a Heaven's Mandate stone, I wouldn't have needed you to search for it, said Wu Lingfei coldly as she looked at Night Sorrow. Junior has come to fulfill the promise. Does Senior's promise still count? Yishang asked. You came as promised? You mean to say that you have the Heaven's Mandate stone? Wu Lingfei's voice unconsciously rose a lot. Yes, it's in this box. But I want to know if Senior's promise still counts? Night Sorrow took out the jade box and looked at the white-clothed woman. The spirit tool is naturally yours, said Wu Lingfei as she looked at the box in Night Sorrow's hand. Not this. I'm talking about borrowing it for free, said Night Sorrow. Of course, I'm a woman of my word. If I say I'm borrowing it for free, then I'm borrowing it for free. Wu Lingfei nodded. How long? Asked Night Sorrow again. 3 months at the shortest, and half a year at the longest, said Wu Lingfei after thinking for a moment. Okay. Night Sorrow stepped forward and handed the jade box to Wu Lingfei. After Wu Lingfei opened the jade box, her eyes were attracted to the Heaven's Mandate stone. After a while, she closed the box. You're a woman of your word, and so am I. Do you plan to go back now and come back later? Asked Wu Lingfei after closing the jade box. She looked at Night Sorrow and asked, I'm not going back. I'll wait here for Senior to finish using it. Night Sorrow said. He had already made this decision. After all, going back and forth would take too long, and he couldn't afford it. Then go to my Qianren Peak. I'll go into seclusion, and you can cultivate there. Although it's cold there, with your body's strength, you should be able to withstand it. You can treat it as a trial, said Wu Lingfei. Night Sorrow nodded. He thought that was fine. After Night Sorrow nodded, Wu Lingfei waved her sleeve. Energy appeared and wrapped around Night Sorrow and Tianyu. Then Night Sorrow felt dizzy, and the scenery in the night changed. After a while, the energy around Night Sorrow dissipated, and Tianyu could move. Under the cover of the night, Yishang observed his surroundings. They were at the bottom of a mountain. Behind Night Sorrow and Wu Lingfei was a cliff, which was also the peak of the mountain. They were at a platform below the peak. There's a cave there. You can rest and cultivate there. If there's nothing important, don't disturb me. After Wu Lingfei finished speaking, she waved her arm and a jade box appeared. She sat cross-legged on it and opened the jade box, holding the water element Heaven's Mandate stone in her hand. As Wu Lingfei cultivated, an extremely cold energy appeared on her body, and she instantly froze herself. Strong. Night Sorrow couldn't help but admire Wu Lingfei's strength. She directly condensed her energy into ice and froze herself. How heaven-defying was that? Night Sorrow had Tianyu rest while he entered the cave. The cave was very tidy. It seemed this was where Wu Lingfei lived. Thinking about it, Night Sorrow felt it wasn't suitable, so he went to the cave and began to meditate. Night Sorrow felt this place was pretty good. The extremely cold energy was very strong, and he could use this pressure to temper his true chi and the myriad Dao Tome's energy. Currently, Night Sorrow's myriad Dao Tome had reached the 7th level of the bone-forging realm. He had begun to strengthen his shoulder bones, collarbone, and bone marrow. Once he finished strengthening them, he could enter the 8th level of the bone-forging realm. The 8th level of the bone-forging realm strengthened his neck and bone marrow. Once he succeeded, he would enter the 9th level of the bone-forging realm. Once his skull and bone marrow were strengthened, he would enter the 4th stage of the myriad Dao Tome, the Unity realm. Cultivating in the biting cold wind was a kind of torture for Night Sorrow, but the true chi and energy he cultivated was very pure. In terms of perseverance, Night Sorrow had it. When he was thirsty, he would drink a few mouthfuls of wine. When his body needed nourishment, he would eat fasting pills and continue to cultivate. Night Sorrow diligently cultivated, and his cultivation base quickly rose. After all, he was using the Source Spirit Elixir and the Flood Dragon Bone Forging Pill. Time passed quickly, and in the blink of an eye, over a month had passed. Other than feeding Tianyu Beast Essence pills, Night Sorrow didn't get up to come over. Tianyu was already used to this place. He would often go out to hunt demon beasts. The Eastern Snow Mountain had ice flood dragons, and the ice flood dragon's gallbladder was a great supplement for them. Chapter 301. Genius 1 Second. Remember love divided by go divided by little? Here's a wonderful novel for you to read. After looking at the origin stone for a while, Wu Lingfei turned to Night Sorrow and said, I need to go into seclusion again. The mysteries of this origin stone are truly difficult to comprehend. Love go little say Webku. Don't worry. Night Sorrow nodded. You know how to use the power of extreme cold to temper your cultivation. Not bad. Wu Lingfei took out a jar of wine and took a sip from her veil. Later, I plan to go to the Ice Plain Sea to look for Ice Spirit Blood Essence, Night Sorrow said. That's good. Ice Spirit Blood Essence contains a very strong blood essence. You might not be able to absorb it right now. Wait until your body is a bit stronger, then you'll be able to use it, Wu Lingfei said. Then I'll go later. Night Sorrow nodded. He understood that the Ice Spirit Blood Essence was very useful. Oh dollar. If you can bring me a few more pieces. Wu Lingfei turned around and took another sip of wine before speaking. Sure. I don't understand one thing. Senior also cultivates a special cultivation method. Your body is very strong, so your blood essence should also be very strong. Can you get more Ice Spirit Blood Essence if you go to the Ice Plain Sea? Night Sorrow asked. No, I have the ice attribute of the water attribute. My body is strong, but my blood essence is not enough, so I can't draw out the Ice Spirit Blood Essence. Wu Lingfei shook her head. Night Sorrow knew that attributes were very important. He also planned to study his own attributes. During this period of time in the extreme cold, it was not suitable for him to activate his attributes, so he didn't touch this area. What is your attribute? While Night Sorrow was thinking, Wu Lingfei asked. This was a very important aspect for cultivators. If one's attribute was strong, then one's combat power would be strong. I don't know. I came here as soon as I reached rank 4. The extreme cold is not suitable for activating my attributes, so I plan to wait, Night Sorrow said. Don't worry, it won't take long. Enter the cave and I'll help you activate it. Wu Lingfei was very interested in Night Sorrow's attributes. Night Sorrow followed Wu Lingfei into the cave. After entering the cave, Wu Lingfei waved her hand and sealed the entrance with ice. Wu Lingfei stood at the entrance of the cave and said, The extreme cold here is still very strong, but it won't suppress the other elements. Focus and feel the elemental powers in the air. Absorb whatever you think you can absorb, and then punch me with all your strength. Baidu search, AI Go female sign shall say, www.ai2xs.com. Night Sorrow nodded and began to meditate to sense the elements in the space. As he focused his mind, Night Sorrow realized that he was surrounded by white dots of light. These white dots of light were mixed with small amounts of yellow, blue, green, red, light purple, milky white, light black, green, dark black, gray, and dark gray dots of light. Carefully sensing, Night Sorrow also discovered a type of dark purple bubble and a type of trembling stripe. These two types were hidden in these spots of light. Night Sorrow understood that these spots of light were elemental powers. The first 7 were the ordinary earth, water, wind, fire, lightning, light, and darkness. Then there was the green life, the dark black death, the gray space, the light gray time, and the faint purple gas and trembling stripe. He wasn't sure, but he suspected that they were void and destruction. Sensing this, Night Sorrow opened his mind and body to absorb. As Night Sorrow absorbed, these spots of light didn't move. Only the dark purple gas entered Night Sorrow's body. Standing up, Night Sorrow punched at Wu Lingfei. It was just an ordinary punch, a punch of the rank 4 cultivation. Pum. With a muffled sound, Night Sorrow retreated a few steps. Wu Lingfei didn't move, but her eyes were full of shock. What a tribute! Night Sorrow felt that his chi had changed, but Night Sorrow couldn't tell what it was. Continue absorbing elemental powers and punch again, Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow nodded and sat down cross-legged, continuing to absorb the attribute of the dark purple bubble. After a while, he stood up and punched at Wu Lingfei again. After another collision, Night Sorrow was forced back. Void attribute. It really is the void attribute. Night Sorrow, you're very lucky to be able to comprehend a peak attribute like this. The most fortunate thing is that you met me today. If it were someone from another realm, you'd be dead by now, Wu Lingfei said. Night Sorrow's expression changed. He knew what the void attribute meant. It was one of the peak attributes. That won't do. If we fight, you'll be exposed, Wu Lingfei said with a frown. I can use profound jade spirit chi. Night Sorrow waved his hand and sent out a palm filled with cold chi. This is a way to hide your own attribute. I didn't think of that. Your profound jade hands is quite good. Wu Lingfei nodded after seeing Night Sorrow's palm. Night Sorrow nodded. In order to cultivate the profound jade hands, he had suffered a lot. Remember, as long as you use the void attribute in a fight, you must kill your opponent. Otherwise, it'll be troublesome. Wu Lingfei reminded Night Sorrow. I don't see how strong the void attribute is. Night Sorrow still had some doubts. Then let me ask you. Did you get attacked by the cold chi just now? You didn't, right? In addition, your fist of the first rank of the 4th step has melted twice as much of my Jin Chi as yours. Think about the pros and cons of this. Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow and said. She knew that Night Sorrow had just comprehended the attribute and didn't know the power of a peak attribute. Then I'll take my time to study it. Night Sorrow nodded, feeling very happy. Then I'll continue my seclusion. I estimate it'll take another 2 or 3 months. It won't delay your return. Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. She waved her hand and broke the ice at the entrance of the cave. Then she took out an origin stone and continued to cultivate. Night Sorrow sat down at the entrance of the cave and continued to cultivate. As he cultivated, he began to absorb the void attribute. As he circulated his true energy to cultivate, Night Sorrow noticed something shocking. The heavenly fate pearl in his Dantian region was moving. It was spinning, and was emitting a power that was far, far purer than the power he had absorbed on his own. After a while, Night Sorrow's chi was filled with the void attribute. Even so, the void fate pearl was still rotating and pouring attributes into Night Sorrow's Dantian. Night Sorrow tried to pour his chi into the void fate pearl. After pouring it in, Night Sorrow's chi was absorbed by the void fate pearl. However, there was no reaction. Seeing that the void fate pearl was absorbing his chi, but there was no reaction, Night Sorrow continued to pour his chi into the void fate pearl. Night Sorrow used his origin spiritual liquid to recover his chi. Then he continued to pour his chi into the void fate pearl. As long as the void fate pearl could absorb it, he would continue to pour it in. After 7 days, Night Sorrow stopped using the origin spiritual liquid and began to recover his chi. He knew that he had been using the origin spiritual liquid for a long time. His chi was weak, and there was no point in assimilating it. After recovering his cultivation base, Yishang continued to channel his true chi into the heavenly fate pearl. Chapter 302. Genius 1 Second Remember Love Go/Little? We provide you with wonderful novels to read. Night Sorrow had originally planned to go down East Snow Mountain and search for Ice Spirit Blood Essence in the Ice Plains Sea. But now he no longer had such thoughts. He wanted to fight to the death with the Void Fate Pearl. As long as it did not affect his cultivation, there was nothing to worry about. This time, Night Sorrow did not calculate the time. He poured his true chi into the Void Fate Pearl. Once his true chi was exhausted, he would sit down and recover before pouring more true chi. Time passed very quickly. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. Night Sorrow did not stand up once. When Tianyu returned, Night Sorrow threw a beast pill to Tianyu and continued to fight with the Void Fate Pearl. When Yishang was about to run out of true energy again, the Voidless Fate bead stopped absorbing true energy. Instead, it began to spin around Yishang's dantian. At the same time, Yishang felt a special connection between him and the Voidless Fate bead. It was an inexplicable connection. Looking at the frozen Wu Lingfei, Night Sorrow began to cultivate on the platform. He cultivated his spear arts, fist arts, and movement arts. After cultivating for a while, Night Sorrow discovered that his true chi had a color. It was a very beautiful purple. The color was a little dazzling. Night Sorrow circulated the profound jade spirit chi in his hands to cover up the void attribute. After cultivating for a day, seeing Tianyu return, Night Sorrow wanted to move. Night Sorrow rode Tianyu and flew towards the Ice Plains Sea. He planned to cultivate while moving and collect some Ice Spirit Blood Essence. After arriving at the Ice Plains Sea, Night Sorrow got off Tianyu's back. He circulated the myriad Dao Tome's energy and began to run across the Ice Plains Sea while cultivating. As he ran, Night Sorrow pondered. Since he had comprehended the attributes, he could study the protective chi. Currently, he had the energy of the myriad Dao's tome to protect his body. However, it was still good to have an additional layer of protective chi. While running, Night Sorrow's Dantian's Zhen Qi burst out and formed a protective Zhen Qi shield around his body. Without the Zhen Qi in his hands, his protective Zhen Qi was light purple. Next, Night Sorrow used his profound jade spirit energy to change the protective Zhen Qi into a white, ice-attributed Zhen Qi. Night Sorrow tried to switch back and forth to train. The Qi shield could increase one's defense. It was very important for a cultivator, as it could block the damage from the harsh environment. After advancing for a day, Night Sorrow collected a piece of Ice Spirit Blood Essence. He did not stop and continued to run across the icy sea. Tianyu followed right above his head. _forever TQ long time free Wi-Fi hashtag C small say. X after running for 10 days, Night Sorrow took a detour. After being hundreds of miles away from the original path, he continued to run back. 20 days later, he returned to the East Snow Mountain. Not only did he collect 13 pieces of Ice Spirit Blood Essence, but he also cultivated his Zhen Qi to the peak of the Spirit Severing stage. The progress of the Myriad Daos Tome was also very fast. At the foot of the East Snow Mountain, Night Sorrow rode Tianyu back to the Qianren Peak. At the same place, Night Sorrow saw Wu Lingfei breaking out of the ice. I thought you didn't want the Origin Stone and ran away. Wu Lingfei put the Origin Stone into a jade box and handed it to Night Sorrow. Have you comprehended the mystery? Night Sorrow took back the water attribute Origin Stone and asked. He had noticed that Wu Lingfei was holding the Origin Stone. It was not damaged and the energy was very rich, just like before. How can it be that easy? I just comprehended it. I will slowly understand it in the future. Now let's talk about the spirit tools. I killed some venerables in the early years and collected some spirit tools. What kind of spirit tools do you need? Wu Lingfei asked. I only know spear arts and I won't change, so I only use spear arts. Night Sorrow said. He would not give up on spear arts cultivation. Baidu search AI Go Xiaoshua www.aichuex.com. I don't have a spirit tool spear, so I'll give you a defensive spirit tool. However, you can't use its power at the moment. Give me your hand, and I will help you refine it. Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow stretched out his hand. Wu Lingfei waved her left hand, and energy streaked across the back of Night Sorrow's hand, taking away a stream of blood. A white vest appeared on her right hand. Wu Lingfei poured Night Sorrow's blood into the vest. Then, energy appeared on her hands and covered the vest. After half a cup of tea's time, Night Sorrow had a special feeling in his heart. He felt that the vest had a connection with him. You should be able to feel it. From now on, wear it close to your body. Although you are weak, this ice silk soft garment can help you block an all-out attack from an opponent one level higher than you. If you enter the 5th level, then even a venerable won't be able to heavily injure you in one move. I originally wanted to give you a low-grade spirit weapon, but I don't have any spears, so I can only let you have it. Wu Lingfei handed the ice silk soft garment to Yishang. Thank you, senior. Yishan took the soft ice silk clothing, put it away and bowed. You've helped me twice. A long time ago, I was injured, and my chi and blood were unable to recover. I knew that the ice plane sea had ice spirit blood essence, but I couldn't get it. There were no ice spirit wells near the ice snow mountain, so I could only rely on the East Snow Mountain's extreme cold to nourish my body. You came and helped me solve this problem. Also, you brought the source stone. You'll know its use later, Wu Lingfei said. Senior, you are the top fighting force of the Eastern Xian region. If there is a region war, you will have to contribute. As someone from the Eastern Xian region, I will naturally contribute to the Eastern Xian region. Even if I don't have a spirit weapon, I will still fulfill my promise, said Yishang. I can understand your intentions. I won't stay in the East Snow Mountain for long in the future. If you have any problems in the Eastern Xian region, just crush the spirit pearl, and I will rush over as soon as possible. Wu Lingfei said to Night Sorrow. Junior understands. As for the origin stone, it's not that I'm stingy, but that I have other uses. Here is another type of origin stone. If Senior needs it, I can lend it to you for a few years. Night Sorrow took out the fire origin stone. After taking the fire origin stone and looking at it, Wu Lingfei put it back into the jade box and returned it to Night Sorrow. This is not compatible with my attribute. Studying it will increase my fighting strength, but it's better to focus on comprehending the law of water. Remember, a man's wealth is his own ruin. These are all life-threatening things. Senior, do you still need the ice spirit blood essence? Night Sorrow asked. You have extra? Wu Lingfei looked at Night Sorrow and asked. I went to look for it a few days ago and got some. Night Sorrow took out 6 or 7 pieces and put them in front of him. You are really amazing. I can't help but admire you. I reckon that you will need this to help you cultivate soon. I'll take 2 pieces. It's easy for you to find them, but it's harder for me to find them. A naturally erupting ice spirit well is no different from looking for a needle in a haystack. Wu Lingfei said with a sigh after taking the 2 pieces. I'll look for some more on my way out. Senior, please keep them. Night Sorrow bent down and picked up the ice spirit blood essence and handed it to Wu Lingfei. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.